Now, baby. Yo, what's up, people? This is Robert Bassano. Granate Veritas, flat plain truth. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove, right? Setting the truth free from a lifetime of bondage. Today's Saturday afternoon live stream hangout. Is God dead? That's a question. Thoughts become things, but who is listening? Now, this is actually a part two to the conversation we had. What, that was Wednesday, right? Was it Wednesday? That was the one we had early in the week regarding superluminal signal transmission, faster than the speed of light, right? Busting c squared, speed of light.
Yeah, that was
So we're going
Wednesday.
to keep going with that because we started off that show. We got into an argument regarding what is information, okay? And some people made some comments on that particular video. They were seeking some elaboration, some deeper explanation of where we were going with that. Some people felt that we went off in another direction. No, we didn't at all. We didn't go off in another direction, but we did talk about it a little bit too long than what was needed necessary. But this show is going to be dedicated to that. Now, let me make this very clear. I'm going to be Robert. I don't give a shit about any religion. I'm not going to talk about religion. I'm not going to address it. Okay? If people want to address things that need to be brought attention to with regard to the Bible, the Quran, the I Ching, the Bhagavad Gita, whatever religious doctrinal treatise that you've ever studied or read or you continue to study and read and develop an understanding of, I'm open to that. But I am a-religious, all right? John is that way too. Religion is like science. It's bullshit, okay? But we will discuss doctrinal treatise, so to speak, or some sort of metaphysics or spiritual type of understanding, or whatever it may be. The information that's put out in these books. I've referred to the Bible a couple of times. You know, I have read it through my life. You know, had it read to me as a child. I read it a few times. I've read the Quran. Literally, I think it was about at least a decade. I read it every year from cover to cover. Every year. That's just what they do in Islam during the holy months, right? When you have Ramadan, you read the Quran from beginning to end. You have to read it during that time frame in 40 days. All right? So I'm gonna assume that John is probably gonna go down that route. I ain't got no problem with it. But I know he's not gonna discuss religion. If anybody else wants to discuss religion, be ready. I'm not gonna attack you, but just be ready. You guys out in chat, you want to talk about it? That's up to you. You can talk about it. But we don't discuss that here. And it's not that it's taboo. It's just something a lot of us just don't have a belief in. Okay? So we are going to address, is God dead? All right? I don't know who God is. Nobody else knows who he is. I want to know if it all comes through faith. I want to know if information, if some of the people on the panel believe that information is coming from some other divine source or entity, you know, or what gives us inspiration, enthusiasm, innovation, creation of specific things. Me, I'm of the belief that thoughts become things. If you can think it, you can materialize it. All right? John's going to debate that as well. He doesn't agree with that. And then we're going to end up with, okay, then if this is all possible, then who's actually listening to it? Because if we put out data or information, who's it meant for? Is it meant just for us? All right? Robert Shortman and I actually talked about that. You know, Luke and I talked about that. Vivian and I talked about it. John and I talked about that. So that's where we're going to go with this. There are going to be some videos you're going to see from my side. There are going to be some documents you're going to see from my side. John's going to present some things. John, I let you go first last time. I'm going to go first this time. And we're just going to go down the line on the panel and talk about information theory. Okay? And then John will rebut, and then we'll keep going back and forth on that. There will be some of the guys out there watching the chat. You got questions? If they can wait until we're finished, great. But I won't be watching it on a regular timestamp because I'll be presenting, doing the share screen. Okay? So let's get this party started. If you guys want to know kind of where this is going, where my thinking's at on this topic, I'm a huge fan and connoisseur of everything Friedrich Nietzsche. Okay? And if you look down the description section here, my favorite Friedrich Nietzsche quotes. The first one, that's the best one. The individual himself is a fallacy. Everything which happens in us is in itself something else which we do not know. The individual is merely a sum of conscious feelings and judgments and misconceptions, a belief, a piece of the true life system, or many pieces through thought together and spun together, a unity that does not hold together. We are buds on a single tree. What we do, what do we know about what can become of us from the interest of the tree? But we have a consciousness as though we would and should be everything, a fantasy of I and all, not I. Stop feeling oneself as this phantastic ego. Learn gradually to discard the supposed individual. Discard the fallacies of the ego. Recognize egoism as a fallacy. The opposite is not to be understood as altruism. This would be love of the other supposed individuals. No. Get beyond myself and yourself. Experience cosmically. That's one of my favorite quotes. And I'm not going to Christian bash, but you can read the second one for yourself. All right? So I'm going to get this started off through the share screen. And there's 2 videos I'm going to play. And again, you guys on the panel, just let me know when this stuff is actually showing up on the watch page. I don't need all of you to see the watch page, but at least 1 or 2 of you. And then, courtesy of the Khan Academy, we're going to watch a short little video on what is information theory. Okay, don't get confused with the title. Here we go.
It's up.
It's up.
There we go.
Imagine Alice has an idea and she wants to share it. There are so many ways to share an idea. She could draw a picture, make an engraving, write a song. Send a telegraph or an email. But how are these things different? And more importantly, why are they the same? This story is about the fundamental particle of all forms of communication. It begins with a special skill you likely take for granted: language. All language allows you to take a thought or mental object and break it down into a series of conceptual chunks. These chunks are externalized using a series of signals or symbols. Humans express themselves using a variation in sound and physical action, as do chirping birds and dancing bees, and man-made machines exchanging a dancing stream of electrical vibrations. Even our bodies are built according to instructions stored inside microscopic books known as DNA. All are different forms of one thing: information. In simplest terms, information is what allows one mind to influence another. It's based on the idea of communication as selection. Information, no matter the form, can be measured using a fundamental unit. In the same way, we can measure the mass of different objects using a standard measure such as kilograms or pounds. This allows us to precisely measure and compare the weight of, say, rocks, water, or wheat using a scale. Information, too, can be measured and compared using a measurement called entropy. Think of it as an information scale. We intuitively know that a single page from some unknown book has less information than the entire book. We can describe exactly how much using a unit called the bit, a measure of surprise. So no matter how Alice wants to communicate a specific message, hieroglyphics, music, computer code, each would contain the same number of bits, though in different densities. And a bit is linked to a very simple idea: the answer to a yes or no question. Think of it as the language of coins. So how is information actually measured? Does information have a speed limit? A maximum density? Information theory holds the exciting answer to these questions. It's an idea over 3,000 years in the making. But before we can understand this, we must step back and explore perhaps the most powerful invention in human history, the alphabet. And for this, we return to the cave.
Okay. So, to segue into where we left off from the beginning of the first argument we had on what is information, with John and Devat. He's not here right now. I think he's working. But to carry on for where Devat was going with regard to information is put into some sort of language. And John, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think what you had said to Devat was that there had to be an agreement on the method, on how the information was to be interpreted, how it was to be translated, how it was supposed to be received and transmitted, meaning that you had to have, the two parties had to agree, okay, I'm showing you this cryptographic cipher key. I'm not going to tell you what it means, but if you have problems, this will help you along with how you're supposed to decipher it. Meaning that if you just put the code out there and don't tell anybody what it's supposed to stand for, no one will know what it is you're trying to communicate. And the argument that Devat was bringing up was the fact that you said that there had to be a joint agreement on what that information was so it could be translated. Devat was saying the information could just be out there for anyone who might be able to be in a position to interpret it, and it won't have meaning until someone actually gets sight of it or receives it somehow in a fashion to where they say, okay, I don't know what this is. It is some sort of data. And now they have to go through the process of trying to interpret what that data actually means. So showing that video regarding where they talk about what that information was, where he was showing how this girl could write a piece of music, she could play a specific rhythm, they could show a hand sign, whatever it may be. This was all came down to information. That's what it all comes down to. It's all information. There doesn't have to be a collective agreement of what it represents, what it stands for. The question now comes up is, who was it meant for? How did we come about getting this information? All right? So the second video I actually want to play it talks about the origins of written language. And then from there, we're going to go on to the discussion on this. This one, I think this video is only, let me see if I can get this right here real quick. So I had this up. It'll start giving me problems now with this website. Everybody still there? Oh, come on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Still here.
Stand by here for a second. So it's kind of ironic we're having this issue right now because it has to do with information. And I'm having problems with transmitting the information to my computer.
Try reloading the page.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop the share screen. I'm gonna let John and whoever else is going to discuss what they just talked about in that 3 minutes and 25 seconds.
Yeah, well, he said that information in your first video, information is one mind communicating with another. So that's what I was saying.
Well, I interpreted that, yeah, the information you want to communicate to another person, one mind to another, you're taking the collective of all the data and developing information to transmit the message you want to convey to another individual. But if we just don't focus on, okay, I'm taking information to transmit it to you and everyone else on the panel and everyone else out in the chat, let's look at everything else. Let's look at inanimate examples. Let's look at organic examples. All right? When you brought up the comment of, okay, when a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? And if it does make a sound, you know, where's that information going? You know, could the falling of that tree be part of some other process that we're unaware of, to where that one tree falls to send a message to, say, all of the insects on the ground, a message to say, hey, a tree has fallen. We've now provided you with more refuge and safety where you can go hide and cultivate and multiply and maybe feed off of whatever was on that tree to survive. You see? So that tree falling to us means nothing. It just means the tree fell. But to everything that's in that forest, that's on the ground, that's relying on that tree to fall, you know, they didn't know when it was going to fall. Maybe they did know when one of those insects knew it was going to fall, but it fell for a particular reason. Just the falling itself and the sound it's going to make is going to reverberate and vibrate through the entire forest, letting everything know that coexists with it. Here's the message that was just sent, but we don't know what that message was. We won't know until, say, 6 months later, you go in the forest, you see the fallen tree, and then you see all these animals living inside of it, and you're wondering, well, did this tree fall for that particular reason, or just these animals were looking for a place to hide or to, you know, to breed and multiply? I don't know if that made any sense.
Well, I'm saying that when that tree branch falls and the sound waves come off it, that's not information.
That's not information for you.
It's just
That's
sound.
not information for you.
It's not communicating a message to anyone purposely.
Now, when you say anyone, are you saying it's not communicating a message to us? But
No,
what about
to
the animals in the vicinity of that tree when it falls?
To anything. It's not communicating anything.
Well, what gives you that idea?
Well, because to communicate a message to something, you have to have sentient intelligence. That's what I'm saying.
Wait, you have to have sentient intelligence?
Sentience / intelligence.
Or consciousness.
John,
Be conscious.
John, you don't have to have
Is a
intelligence.
tree or an insect, are they conscious or not?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, but I don't think the tree and the insect speak the same language.
I was looking at it on a cellular level, and the cellular level basically said that to cause a cell to move from one point to another when it had no reason to do so, it had to have some form of source intelligence to do so, and just mere assumption or supposition that it was going to move from one point to another without a reason But the conclusion they come to was that there had to be some reason why it was doing that. So, I mean, that's the only thing I can say counter to that.
But it's not counter, because there's information in DNA. If you're talking about living things and communication, like cellular communication, that's all pre-programmed information.
But you can only
but a tree.
I'm saying that the source field that causes it to move, that's pre-programmed information that's in within everything.
Say that one more time, I didn't catch it.
The source field information that causes that particular thing to phase and change its decision of why it was sitting there and then why it needed to move from one point to another. You're talking mitochondria, within the body, so not just basic cells. These cells were doing these things on purpose to change their DNA and actually mutate from that. So there was reasons behind them moving within this field. So this field had to give some source of information for them to respond. Otherwise, they would just, all be the same.
See,
that's correct. I mean, yeah, but you're talking about mitochondrial DNA too. See, the information's already there.
Yeah, but I want to keep using the example of a tree falling. You're saying it's not transmitting the information to any living organic thing that's on the ground. Well, if we go back to a lot of some of the metaphysical sciences where they talk about, I mean, even human beings emit a particular frequency resonance. Everything is sound. If you look at sound being the driving factor to have things take a specific shape and design and structure. We've seen this all in videos where literally they'll dial the frequency on a test and measurement of the device and put a granular substance on the table, and everything just starts to coordinate with each other, and as they continue to change the frequency, it takes these different perfect geometric shapes. Now, with regard to the tree falling and creating a sound, that sound is reverberating through the forest, and even though the tree is not made of the same material, organic substance as the insects and the animals, okay, because they're resonating on a different frequency. The tree's resonating on a different frequency. When the tree falls, it reverberates a frequency, of course, we don't know, but the sound itself and the vibration sends out a signal to this organic life to say either they're going to respond to it positively, ignore it, or not even know what happened and just go on through their daily business of either shitting, pissing, or eating something else. But whatever other type of organic life it was meant for, they will get that message and will either come back to that tree or realize a tree is fallen, we need to go back to where the sound came from, because there'll be a place of refuge there for us, or whatever. I don't know what the fuck insects think. Okay, I'm not saying that I do. But the tree fell and put out a sound and some sort of process for something out there and if you think trees are not conscious, think again. Because people talk to their fucking plants all the fucking time. Now, those people could be crazy, but they said if you give enough love to a plant, it'll grow really healthy. If you put it in a specific environment, that plant, that tree, and whatever, that chloroform type of substance will grow and it'll blossom. But you put it next to a frequency that it's not vibrating, it's either going to wither or die. So just because you've got a 100-foot tree that doesn't have the same DNA and mitochondria structure of an insect, that doesn't mean that they don't communicate with each other or they communicate with different sources of other information that's out there. I mean, I don't want us to just focus on that all information is just for intelligent human beings to receive and transmit, because everything is given off of vibration. You know this too, John, being in the military. When we start studying things on the measurement and signature intelligence level, what we're doing is I'm saying that the cup of coffee I have right now on my table, as I'm speaking, is fucking empty. But if I had the test and measurement device to measure the actual frequency that this specific cup is generating right now, if it was in the international database, okay, everyone would be able to see exactly who's the manufacturer of this coffee cup. It was either handmade or it was manufactured by a company who made millions of these cups and distributed them around the world. Measurement and signature intelligence is about finding out what the frequency is of any inanimate fucking piece of matter. It could be a computer, it could be a watch, it could be a fucking clock, it could be anything. And when you want to capture that particular signature, which is on ultra high frequency, it's on an ultra low frequency, ultra high speed level. Literally, if someone were to re-engineer Wi-Fi right now and send a pulse signature through my computer to find out what the brand name of the watch I have on right now on my left arm, they would be able to capture the vibration that's coming from my wrist to the table through the computer, and they'd be able to tell you the manufacturing ID number, the day it was manufactured, when it was shipped out, and who manufactured it. That's measurement and signature intelligence. So that's an inanimate object, though. It's a watch. It doesn't breathe. It doesn't eat. You know, the metals expand and contract based on the temperature. So the argument that we had, you know, a couple of days ago, where you said that inanimate objects don't have a life of their own, they do. Because when you talk about the expansion and contraction of metals, of plastics, of woods, of whatever substance that may be out there, those objects have a life. They're made of molecules, atoms, protons, electrons, neutrons, and they're vibrating at specific frequencies. The question is, with regard to this first part of this hangout, is what's transmitting, what's giving that information to those atoms and molecules, electrons and protons, to vibrate at a specific frequency, because they're coupled and joined with other protons and electrons, and telling them, okay, I want 1 billion of you to move at this rate and 1 billion of you to move at that rate, and when you come together, you're going to be a fucking coffee cup. All right? Now, is there something telling them that when they come together, they're going to be a coffee cup? Because if something else is put into the mix to change that frequency, if there is a higher entity, and I'm going to address this, John, if there is a God saying, okay, these 2 billion different types of electrons and protons, when they get together, I want to see coffee cup. But if something else gets in the way to change that data and information, when they come together, they end up becoming a fucking USB flash drive. So now God's like, well, wait a minute, I didn't want that to happen. How did that happen? So I think everything inanimate, organic, sentient, literally possesses its own dynamic process where it could become anything at any time, and we don't know when that can happen or how that can happen. So it can't come from one source. It can't come from a divine single source that everyone believes or doesn't believe is God, because that amount, the amount of the level, the infinite number of variables that exist, or the key word is infinite. There can't be, and I'm not saying that there isn't, but there just can't be a single entity literally regulating all of that activity, factoring in every single quadrillion possibility that could occur in faster than the speed of light. You're talking about literally quadrillions of variables occurring at a speed faster than 186,000 miles a second. And we all agree that nothing is traveling at 186,000 miles a second, the speed of light. It's traveling much faster. So how could there be a single entity regulating all of that? It's not
Because
possible.
outside of time, if you take time out of the equation, then it's possible.
But here's the thing. I would agree with you on that, Vivian. If you do take time out of the equation, it could be possible. But the reason why it's not possible is because we can't fathom that. Because time is a construct of the mind. It's an illusion.
Yeah, it's a constant on which we are able to read, understand, comprehend, interpret information.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, what I'm trying to get you guys to do. I'm trying to get you to think about this from a non-human perspective. I'm trying to think about this from a non-individual perspective. Don't think about this as a human being, as an individual. That's why I read that first quote by Nietzsche. The individual himself is a fallacy. That's why I read that quote, is because I want you to think about this from an all-encompassing universal perspective. I want you to think about this as, okay, look down at the floor right now at the pair of shoes you're on and try to envision yourself as that fucking right sneaker or flip-flop or sandal you have on right now. Could you imagine, can you bring yourself to imagine that you're that sneaker or flip-flop?
You see, we are able to do that. We can do that. In a way, we have the capacity to connect and eventually, let's say, put ourselves in something else or someone else's shoes, to have some kind of empathy or imagine or comprehend. But any other animals can't. No, but only humans can do it.
But see, we don't know that. We don't know that we don't know that a dog. We don't know that a dog falls asleep every night dreaming that it's a fucking cat. Because I've actually seen videos. I mean, ironically, I've seen videos where fucking cats act like dogs and dogs act like fucking cats.
Yeah, no,
So
we've seen. But that's behavior training. That's something because they got raised by another type of animal, and that's why. But
and I would agree. I would agree with you on that. But at what point we don't know?
Okay.
That when you look down on the ground.
So let me ask you this then: if a dog that has never seen a cat in his life, can he behave as a cat if he's never seen one?
We don't know.
This is a good thing, because
that's my point. We don't know.
The same thing when people hit their heads and then suddenly start speaking another language or in a different accent altogether.
Exactly. That's
true. Yeah.
Good example. You get people who I'll give you another example. I mean, Vivian, you and I both have boys the same age.
Yeah.
I was watching a video the other day, the parenting videos, where you got one parent who was actually speaking Greek, right? Literally, I'm not joking. The parent spoke Greek, and then the other parent, the mother, spoke Spanish. They both spoke the same. The parents spoke their languages in the household, right? When they had the baby, the baby turned around and started speaking a language neither one of the parents spoke. So how do you explain that?
Well, because that's the thing. When you start, the more languages you speak and you can understand, the easier it gets for you to understand them and assimilate them. And the reason for that is because behind any languages in your brain, you're going to form link. I'm not talking about synapses, but you're basically going to create shortcuts, and your brain is naturally going to write some kind of algorithm behind any languages. So
now that's good that you said it, because John this week talked about the software. So John, elaborate on what you meant by the software. John.
Yeah, I'm here. I was just letting you guys go. Let's go back to. I just wrote some things down. You said sound and sound waves, but you're confusing the medium with the information.
Okay, then what would need to be the medium?
That's the sound is merely a medium. So
Yeah, but
you have
that,
to. Well, let me finish.
Go ahead.
You have to identify what the information is in that medium. Medium and information are two different things. Number two, you brought up geometric shapes via sound waves. We already talked about that about, I don't know, 5 or 6 shows back. That's because that's ordered sequence complexity. There's 3 types of complexity: random sequence, ordered sequence, and functional sequence complexity. That's information. Ordered sequence complexities like fractals, snowflakes, crystals. Functional sequence complexity is information that's useful. And you said something about infinite. Well, there's no such animal as infinite, either mathematically or in reality.
I'll stand corrected on that. You're right, because there's a limit to how far we would be able to go mathematically.
There's a fucking dome also.
but again, it's because based on the last show we did when we talked about superluminal, faster than the speed of light signal transmission, is that everything that we comprehend, we have to slow it down. We have to cognitively and mentally slow things down to develop comprehension and understanding and process the information, because it's moving so fast that we presently do not possess.
But Robert, at the conscious level, you have to slow it down. But your subconscious is absorbing everything. That's why I think Robert also touched on it last time, and it's I can't remember who. But when you take LSD, for instance, it does inhibit your brain, but applies filters. So you take away those filters, and you have so much more information coming in as far as sound and light, information that you don't need, but usually your brain is taking it out of.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. But
your subconscious always absorbs everything. That's why you have subliminal messages, and because
that's a
your
good
brain.
Point you bring up. That's an interesting point you bring up, and it got me thinking about this. Is it possible to have conscious and subconscious thought simultaneously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can.
Give me an example. Give me an example of conscious and subconscious thinking on a cognitive level simultaneously, meaning that now, can you say something consciously and subconscious in the same sentence?
Your subconscious is always active. It's only at sleep where your conscious mind
You just did it. You just did it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You just did it.
But you see,
because
for example,
you're doing it right now. You're doing it right now. See, you're having conscious and subconscious simultaneous activity right now because you're literally digging into your subconscious to actually create the message you want to actually speak.
I agree.
But here's the question for John. Where is that coming from? Where is that information in the subconscious actually? Who's transmitting that subconscious information to Vivian right now, John? What is transmitting that information? Is it coming from his DNA? And if it's coming from his DNA, how did it get to his DNA?
Yeah, Robert, can I just maybe that would be a good time for me to present that video. It's pretty quick.
Okay, go.
We're talking about that. So I'm screen share. Yeah, present me.
Screen share. I'll present you. You show the video. I bet I get a copy of this.
Let me know when. Let me know, guys, when it's up.
Yeah, hang on a second. Hang on.
I'm not following the live stream, but.
Yeah, you're sharing the screen now. Go
I'm
for
sorry?
it.
All right.
Yeah,
It's not the whole video, it's just 5 minutes because then it goes into some nonsense universe stuff, but
yeah,
just,
blow up the screen a little bit.
all right. I've got it.
Studies at the University of Arizona do something. He's also a practicing anesthesiologist.
Can't hear nothing.
Okay, everything's gonna go real smooth. Just pick out a nice dream. You'll wake up feeling really,
Vivian,
Yeah.
you can't hear it.
I
You
what?
might have to take out the mic.
Okay. Hang on.
Let it play the computer sound. Unless you want to put it in the chat, I play it for everybody. Put it in the group chat.
Can you say again?
If you put the link in the group chat, I can play it for everybody.
Yeah,
Oh,
post it.
okay. Okay, yeah. There you go. Let me start screen share.
Yeah, I can play it for everybody so that.
Yeah, that'll be better. There you go.
Okay, good.
You have to skip at like 4 minutes, basically.
So skip to 4 minutes.
Yeah, and just play like 3 or 4 minutes of it up until it start getting into universe and galaxies bullshit.
So start at 4 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Stand by. Let me do the share screen right now.
Let me just quickly say that ties into what I mentioned last time about quantum entanglement, when two particles are entangled together, and no matter how far they are spread apart, they basically need to spin in opposite direction if you want to read them as a spin. But the information between those two are non-physical, and that's what I was trying to get at. There's a physical information which have to have a medium, a receptor, and whoever is emitting the information, and you have non-physical information. And I think, anyway.
I'm going to play this, and
Yeah,
then after, just tell me when to stop. I want to play this because I want to address what you and John are talking about.
Yeah, go ahead. That's a good video to tie into what we're talking about.
Yeah, I want to address what you and John are talking about. With you're saying, you guys are stating that you need to have a medium for the information to be transmitted. So I want to address that after we play this video. Hold on.
Studies at the University of Arizona do something. He's also a practicing anesthesiologist.
Okay, everything's gonna go real smooth. Just pick out a nice dream. You'll wake up feeling really, really nice. Under anesthesia, patients don't dream, even though I said pick out a nice dream, we always say that, but there's no awareness, there's no passage of time. Patients wake up, they don't know if they've been asleep 5 minutes or 5 hours. Anesthesia takes away consciousness. The brain under anesthesia is quite active, and the difference is still somewhat mysterious.
Years watching over patients in the operating room made Hammeroff obsessed with understanding the link between brain activity and consciousness. Then, 15 years ago, he met the great British physicist Sir Roger Penrose. Together, they developed a radical new theory for how the brain works. A theory that has grown into nothing less than a scientific argument for an eternal soul. At its root are tiny structures inside our brain cells called microtubules.
If you look inside a cell, you find structural components that are somewhat like the bones within our bodies. The microtubules develop literally a forest inside each cell, which determines the architecture and the structure of the cell. We think microtubules are perfectly designed to be the cell's onboard computer and process information at the molecular level.
Hammeroff and Penrose argue that microtubules allow neurons and the brain as a whole to function as a quantum computer, performing operations in a fundamentally different way from normal computers.
So here we have a brain with two hemispheres. Most views of the brain are of a collection of individual neurons. When one neuron fires, it sends a signal to the next neuron at a synapse. That in turn causes that neuron to fire, and that neuron causes another neuron to fire, much like dominoes. So for example, if a neuron fires here, it's going to trigger its neighbors to fire, sending signals through and around the brain. That's the classical view of how the brain works.
In a conventional computer, signals move around from place to place along traceable paths. But the microscopic components of a quantum computer are connected via a mysterious process called entanglement.
Some of us think that quantum processes play an important role in consciousness in the brain. So for example, if there's neuronal activity here, it may be coupled through quantum non-locality to processes over here. These neurons are connected even though they're spatially separated, so that activity here instantaneously affects activity over here.
Hameroff and Penrose argued that a change in the microtubules in one brain cell can affect microtubules in another. But that's not all. Quantum theory claims that every single point in space, even empty space, can contain information.
And the very fine structure of the universe, there is information, quantum information, not unlike these dominoes, so that we can have information up or down.
You can stop. You can stop.
But they're connected, so that something that happens here influences something here.
This means...
Yeah. You guys all saw that one.
Yeah, well, let me say, like, if we are told ever since we were a child, like, computers and machines are made by us, are more advanced, faster, and more capable, but I never would truly really believe that. I think if we have a way to train ourselves, we can beat them, and I think there's many people that are able to let's say recitate the numbers of pi to maybe like to get 2,000 or 3,000 number after. So and the computer cannot generate as much. That's one example. But what I'm trying to get at is what if we are made in the image of God? Then truly we have the capacity to beat any computer, to beat anything that technology can bring us. We are basically super quantum computer entangled with anything else. That's why we are able to feel empathy, we can imagine, create, and we can communicate on a much, much deeper level that we cannot even begin to realize. And I think only now we can start to draw parallels with quantum communications and entanglement, because that's what I'm trying to get at, basically. It's like, I don't think we are as limited as mainstream science would have you think.
I do agree with that, yeah.
John and I went down that road before, okay, where I was bringing up the issue that was it a possibility that we're actually, biotechnical construct of an intelligent machine that became self-aware and sentient and decided it didn't want to be stationary anymore. It wanted to multiply and move around, just like, how a virus or a malware functions. Once it gets into one machine and it starts to propagate through the network, it starts to infect every other machine until eventually you have this massive botnet or slave system whereby you have one single giant computer or master end user, which is controlling millions of other systems to launch whatever type of program or process to tell everything else, this is what you need to be doing. And the only way you disrupt it would be if one of the machines in the bot network were to become also self-aware, to realize, hey, there's something inside my system which is telling me what to do and controlling me, and it flags the software program, and you know, say a security person audits it and sees, hey, there's something in here that doesn't belong in here, it removes it, and now that system is not part of the slave network. It breaks off the chain, and now it starts to act on its own. John and I actually discussed that. He didn't want to agree with it, and for obvious reasons, because he said, okay, then who built the intelligent machine that became sentient? And the question I came back at John with was, okay, if you want to say that, you know, it's God, then who created God?
And that's a fallacy.
And so is the individual. So is the
That's a big fallacy.
So is the individual, John. Because
no,
if
it's not.
you don't want to agree, if I'm not saying that you need to agree, but if you don't,
God's parents created God.
What was that?
God's parents created God.
God's parents.
Created God parents.
I guess you'll be introduced to them whenever you meet God.
See, the thing that I'm trying to look at here is that, John, if you want to say that, you know, intelligence machines can't create themselves, but God can exist, and nothing or no one, or there is no process to explain how God exists or came about to create everything else, then both have to be a fallacy. The existence of God is a fallacy, and the existence of a computer that was not created by anything but created that can't create itself is also a fallacy. Therefore, we as individuals, as humans, I'm going to say, you willed yourself into existence. Everything that exists, with the exception of man-made inanimate objects, wills, if it's organic, it willed itself into existence, or we manifested that actual substance through thought, meaning that the human being, the individual, however long back in time in history that this might have occurred, possessed the so-called godlike ability, so the creation type of capability, to say, I want to see vegetation. I want to say, and I'm not saying that they knew what vegetation was, but let's just say they just closed their eyes and had a vision of what things would look like, or what things should look like, or what they should.
What caused the vision?
You know?
Who caused the vision? What caused the vision, if they have a vision of that?
It could just be something that's just self-manifested.
You're in direct violation of the first and second laws of thermodynamics.
Well, and we're going to address that fallacy as well. Okay.
What fallacy is that?
Well, you're saying that what I'm saying is a fallacy, so I'm going to say that what you're saying is a fallacy. But that's going to be a perfect segue.
No, I'm not just saying it. I'm saying that I didn't say it was a fallacy. I said you were in violation of the first and second laws of thermodynamics and quantum mechanics.
Yep.
Well, to believe in the first and second laws of thermodynamics, which is two laws that can obviously have been broken.
Negative, never.
Okay, negative. All right, let's go to the next. I'm going to go to the segue to the next video, which is about 7 minutes, and it talks about the origins of written language. So I'm going to play this one, so everyone, because this segues into what we're discussing on this whole issue here. So here we go. It's 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Hang on a second. There we go.
Imagine Alice traveled back over 50,000 years to find her distant ancestor, Bob.
Really? That's how.
Can everybody see this on the watch page?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
Now, up until this time, human culture was relatively unsophisticated, utilizing the same primitive stone tools which went unchanged for thousands of years. But somewhere around 50,000 years ago, something interesting happened, and nobody knows for sure why. There was a sudden explosion of diverse cultural artifacts, including instruments for making music, new tools, and other forms of creative expression. Humans developed the ability to externalize their inner thoughts. They began to communicate using language. So Alice begins her search by looking for water. She knows that human and animal populations tend to migrate towards and along rivers, which are the lifeblood of ecosystems. Eventually, she comes across an interesting marking, Bob's handprint. This marking contains very little information, simply that he was here and could possibly return. Alice knows Bob is equally intelligent. He can communicate orally, although his culture has not yet developed the ability to read or write in their native language. At the time, the universal written language was art, so she finds natural materials around her to paint him a picture in case he returns. She renders an animal she is tracking, hoping this will offer a clue about the direction she is traveling in the future. Our ancestors used natural materials to create pictorial representations of their reality. Here is an actual cave painting from around 30,000 years ago, found preserved deep inside Chauvet Cave in France. Similar renderings are found in the caves of Spain as well. A common theme among these ancient paintings are animal forms as well as the human hand, perhaps a signature, a story, or a ritual calling.
When Bob returns to the waterfall, he finds her painting and proceeds towards the river where he thinks she might be. When he arrives, he does not find her, though he finds a sign that she was here before. He decides to paint her a picture explaining where he is going next, which is halfway up the river towards the setting sun. He has little time to paint a picture as night is approaching. Therefore, he needs a fast way to visualize his message. He thinks about it for a moment and realizes his message only contains 3 distinct mental objects: middle, river, west. So he decides to use simplified pictures to represent them. For river, he draws a symbol which resembles its natural form, known as a pictogram, which is a drawing that resembles the physical object it represents. Pictograms are an important step in the evolution of writing. Here is a ceremonial slate palette found in Egypt dated before 3000 BC. The surrounding scene shows the struggle between civilized humans and the wild and ferocious animals. However, it's difficult to draw pictures of abstract concepts, such as calm, old, dangerous, or in Bob's case, middle. For this, he draws a line with a box over the middle. It represents halfway. This is known as an ideogram, or a conceptual picture of an abstract idea. Here is an example of this same symbol on an ancient Chinese bronze inscription. For the idea of west, he decides on a picture of the setting sun. Now he does something interesting. He combines these individual symbols in terms of their meaning to create a message. Meaning plus meaning equals new meaning. He leaves this in hope of Alice finding it.
Some of the earliest artifacts of this symbolic merging are found in ancient Mesopotamia, now modern Iraq, home of the Sumerians. This is the birthplace of many of the world's earliest civilizations. Here we find clay accounting tablets, which are some of the oldest written documents ever found, some dating before 3000 BC. The rectangular tablets record the payments in cattle, shipments of cattle to shepherds for fattening, and gifts of cattle as an offering. Notice that instead of drawing a picture of 10 sheep, they draw a symbol representing 10 using small notches, and another symbol representing sheep or donkey, meaning simply 10 sheep. We call this proto-writing. Finally, Alice returns to the base of the river and finds Bob's message. She interprets the meaning correctly, halfway west down the river. So she marches downriver towards the setting sun, and eventually they finally meet.
Over time, Bob learns to speak Alice's language, allowing them to use the same oral language to communicate shared concepts and ideas. This gives them an idea, the root of a more powerful written language. It starts with something very simple, writing her name. She disassociates the sound from the picture. For her name, Alice, Alice, Alice. She combines the mathematical symbol for all and a picture of ice. All ice. Alice. Notice her name has nothing to do with the individual symbols. Sound plus sound equals new meaning. This is known as the rebus principle.
A great example of this was found in Egypt along the Nile River, dated to...
Did you hear that, John? Sound plus sound? John.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long is this video?
Yeah, listen, dude. It's all. Don't get impatient on me, okay? Just listen.
It's a shame I won't get that time back.
Yeah, don't worry. You're getting educated.
To around 3100 BC, it contains some of the earliest hieroglyphic inscriptions ever found. The Narmer palette depicts the Egyptian pharaoh Narmer. On the back, we see him to the left of a kneeling prisoner who is about to be struck down by Narmer, who we see standing tall wearing a crown. What we are looking for is on the other side. Between the two bovine heads at the top, we see an inscription of his name. It's written as a fish and a chisel, which translates to Nar-mer, Narmer. Two sounds separated from the pictures, together giving new meaning, a key development in the history of written language. But before they could advance towards what we know of as an alphabet, something had to happen. They needed to save time.
There you go. There's that one. So, we are back discussing sound. Now, I wanted to address what Vivian and John saying with regard to you need to have some sort of medium. And I guess this goes back to that one hangout we did. We talked about detection of the ether. No one knows what the ether is. I'm interpreting the medium as the environment in which sound actually travels. None of us have ever been in a space or in a vacuum to know if sound can actually travel in a vacuum.
It can't. In theory, it cannot travel.
It can't. So you need some sort of, the medium is the ether. It could be the oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, whatever it may be. However, the interesting thing in that video, in the 7 minutes, was that sound plus sound gives you the production of some sort of information that can become coherent to be potentially translated to mean something. Okay? Sound. Period. When we were looking at all that ancient stuff, they were talking about writing all these symbols. Those symbols mean nothing to us. And I'm thinking to myself, looking at this now, that all of these ancient symbols that have been interpreted to this present date, where the hell did they get where the hell did these scientists and these archaeologists get their information from to say this is what this potentially means? So this is how we're going to interpret it for everyone else. The stuff on some of those tablets, those Sumerian tablets, those mathematical tablets and those documents on stone, how are we to even trust that that's what those symbols actually mean? Because I've actually seen those symbols before with regard to when I was studying cryptography and cryptanalysis, because they use that in a lot of complex ciphers. They use some of those symbols, especially when it comes to Morse code. I'll play another video regarding that as well. But for me, if all of us have different thoughts right now, those thoughts are generating specific signal resonance frequencies from our bodies. Okay? They could be on high frequency levels, they could be on low frequency levels, they could be on varying frequency levels, because none of us know right now if we're all having the same thought. Just because we're talking about the same things and we're thinking about the same things doesn't mean that we're having the same thought. You know, Devar right now could be thinking about, shit, when the fuck is my pizza gonna get here? You know, John could be saying, this fucking cat we bought is keep coming in the fucking closet bothering me. Shit, when is Robert gonna shut the hell up? You know,
Yeah, it's the last one.
Huh? You know, Vivian could be thinking about something completely different. It's like, oh shit, my son may be making a lot of noise. I got to mute my mic. Or, you know, where's my wife when I need her right now? And Luke's probably looking up in the sky thinking he's still being followed by fucking the star Polaris, and something's hiding behind it, ready to snatch his ass out of where he lives. You know, but it's those comical type of things, just as an example, to tell you that we're all vibrating different frequencies on different levels. Some of us may be on the same level. But just because you haven't communicated what you're thinking about subconsciously right now or internally doesn't mean that that information is staying with you. Okay? It could be transmitted to somebody who may not even be listening to this live stream right now. And then right after you get off the live stream, you get an email from someone because you had this thought about something that you were working on, and you get an email response from that person. And you think it's just a coincidence you got that email. And the distance that transmission had to travel could be thousands of miles, tens of thousands of miles. It went there and came back. Thoughts become things, people. If you can think it, and you develop a method to bring to fruition what it is you're thinking about, and you work towards that, you can materialize it. John saying,
I agree on that one. To creating that is speech. You have to speak your thoughts, and you have to trust that, what you said before you create anything. And if it takes more than one person, the other person has to trust what you said as well. So thoughts themselves don't become a reality, because you can reject thoughts. You can also negate your thoughts with negative speech against that thought.
But when Robert Shortman and I talk about this, okay, and this is where we came into agreement, is that when you brought up the issue with John before about how the sperm and an egg get together and they produce one single baby, okay? They both have their own independent codes within them, all right, to come together, create that spark. That spark is the sino-eternal fire, and 4 weeks later, you've got something smaller than a pea inside your wife's belly, or your mother's, you know, the mother of your baby's belly, okay? It's not even formed yet. But how that baby continues to develop is all based on sound, resonance being transmitted to and from that mother's womb, from that baby. Okay?
Say again.
How that baby develops is dependent upon the consistency of the frequency coming to and from that baby.
DNA.
I'll disagree, man.
Based on what?
Because there are babies that literally develop higher level intelligence than their parents.
That doesn't have anything to do with what you just said.
But no, it does have everything to do with it,
no,
John.
It doesn't.
DNA has everything to do with it.
DNA.
John, hang on. Let me just quickly say something. The thing is, you can affect your DNA instantaneously. There's a few studies have been done in how the position you're going to take when you start, the things you're going to think, you're going to project, in real time, you can affect your DNA in real time. And I'll try maybe find the video and present next time or
I
send,
mean,
send the link.
that was what I was referring to with the mutation and the movement of these
So,
DNA.
but here's the thing though. If you have been told a certain thing, and that you believe that basically whatever you're thinking or imagining cannot have any effect on, let's call it reality or whatever, that's where we live. But if you're being told the other way, that anything you can think of, you can matter, you can have an effect on your own body, on everything. But maybe the way you approach things, sorry?
I think you can, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's the way you approach things. Either you're going to be limited by a certain system of belief, like you've been taught in school, but DNA controls your body and your cells and everything like that. Either you're going to go from a, let's call it a creationist standpoint and say, well, if I've been created, then I can create as well. And I can have an effect on my DNA. And that's how, that could explain how when people pray for other people, it does have an effect. Again, the distance have no effect on how prayers work, but it does work. There's been many studies and many study cases where they took DNA and in real time observed how people were able to affect, and you can affect someone else's DNA also. And that goes into why is it that you're supposed to pray before eating? You're supposed to send blessing on your food. And there's that Japanese scientist, Omoto, I think it's called, Omoto, that did an experiment. And you guys talked about it before, when he freezes 3 glasses of water, one control without saying anything, and 2 other where he sends, let's say, good thoughts and the other one bad thoughts. And then analyzing the crystals and how the ice formed, then obviously you can see some kind of eloquent water crystal for the glass of water he sent good thoughts, and very disruptive. You know that experiment. So that means that you can consciously have an effect on how on materials, on let's call it on molecules, and not the other way. I don't think DNA has an effect on you. I think you have an effect on DNA. But then I don't know.
I think it's a two-way process with that. I think it has an effect on you, and you have an effect on it.
Yeah.
It can work both ways.
But again, when you're dealing with quantum theory, we're all correct in theory, because they can't look down to that level to actually say exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So once we get down below this level, we're all correct in some ways, because neither of us can be disproved.
Yeah, I agree with Robert. See, what I think where we are still separated on this is that.
What's the claim? I'm confused on what the claim here is, and then how are we all in agreement or disagreement? What's the claim?
Well, where we're in disagreement is that, and John, I mean, we're going off of what we had talked about before, is that you believe that there's an all-in.
The claim is that there is no God, and that's impossible.
No. That's not.
Somebody had to construct the logical.
I think it is a construction.
Information, communication, data that's going on in our reality that we can observe and repeat.
Is there a source, John? Is there a single source of information?
There is.
Put it in a context. Are you talking about the beginning of the universe? Are you talking about in people? What are we talking about here?
Let's put it all into one basket. The creation of everything. Is there a single source was there a single source that created the information for everything to take its shape, hold, and function of the world we know right here, right now?
Our reality, yes. Quantum mechanics speaks to it. It says there has to be a knower first.
And what is that, Noah? Who is it?
He is the ontological primitive, Jesus Christ.
Okay,
God.
I said God.
So I kind of go with John on this particular point, but again, you kind of then we do deal with the side that again they're looking at science below this period and point where you can't physically see it and observe it at all. It's non-observable. So once they get to that point, then they're dealing with pure simulation theories on theories that someone's postulated and said, right, well, this is how I think it could work. And then they're basing all those principles on those particular theories. So once you get down to that smaller level, again, I think there's other fields and other things that, again, we're not aware of but are here. And
yeah, but could God just be?
There's another dynamic here where there's an outside of us 6 people here, who want everyone to think that there is no God and that Jesus cannot be God because he was once a human. So now we know that you can become intelligent enough, but there's a dynamic in there where you have to be obedient to the society of the Elohim, which is millions of people, that you can become equal with them and share in their reign over the dummies who are us humans. You see?
Can I say something? Yeah?
Yeah, for me, I think that the idea of a single source of the generation of all information to our existence, a God, came about because they just couldn't leave it open. It couldn't be left open that there was nothing that generated the source. And Shannon, and I pulled up this document from Shannon that John loves this guy. Claude Shannon, the founder of the information. John loves this guy. This is John's actually surrogate father.
You gonna put that hanging watermelon curveball out there?
Yeah. This is John's surrogate dad, for everyone who didn't know. This is his uncle. Shannon says quantifying information. He defined the quantity of information produced by a source. John's saying that source is God. Okay? I'm saying that source is what Robin and I talked about the other day when we did that show on how small, what our technological capability was, which is 10 to the minus 18. Then anything smaller than that is just a best guess. They're basically, physicists are saying, scientists are saying, there has to be something beyond this. We don't know what it is. We haven't confirmed it, but there has to be something else here, because there can't be nothing else there. Because how did this come about? So that everything you see on 10 to the minus 18, they're saying it came from somewhere for you to be able to observe it and experiment with it on that level. So when you go beyond 10 to the minus 18, there has to be something there. We just don't know what it is. And that's where I believe God, the idea of God, came from. The source is nothing but another quantum mechanical theory. God is a quantum mechanical theory.
Hey, Robert, I can say something.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you say God cannot exist. Then we say God is our energy. We know energy cannot be created and energy cannot be destroyed.
Yeah, but what
so
is
if God is our energy, our intelligent energy, our energy, like energy, any kind of energy, a form of energy, but intelligent.
Yeah, but when we talk about energy, Luke, here's the thing: from a quantum science, perspective, you have matter which interacts with itself, right? And you get it together in a clump, and it starts to form in a certain way where it's got to expend some of that. How should I say? if you've got a 8-ounce glass and you fill it up to 8 ounces, right? If you go 8.5 ounces to 9 ounces, some of it's going to spill out of the glass. So when you're trying to describe this energy source, that God could be energy, then that energy is immeasurable. Immeasurable.
Yeah, it has to be.
What you think you feel is energy.
We're back to infinity again. Immeasurable.
I'm not going to say infinity because, you know, I'll go with John saying that, hey, you know, there can't be any infinity, because for us to say that means that, you know, you'd be going on forever and you'd eventually come to an end of something. You just don't know how far along you would have to go. But when you're talking about this energy source, you know, it's something that I'm looking at as something that's spilling over in an 8-ounce glass. You got 8.5 ounces, 9 ounces. It just keeps spilling over. All right. But for me, I'm not having a hard time with this, really. I mean, I grew up learning the same things everyone else learned. You know, going to church, reading the Bible. You know, believing, having faith, so to speak, confidence. And you know, I'm gonna remove the personal experiences I've had through life, and saying that, you know, I've been let down or disappointed. But as I've gone on through my life and trying to gain as much knowledge as possible, as quickly as possible, because that's the goal here. You don't know how long you're going to be around to put it all together to say, oh my God, Eureka, I've got it. You know, that's the whole purpose of why we're doing this. But the speed in which that information is coming to us, I'm not of the confidence that it's coming from a source. I think it's really dynamic. I mean, it's happening on a level we just are not being allowed to comprehend. And because we can't comprehend it, we had to create something. You see, divine. I said it. Yeah, I used the word infinity. I was going to say it again, but I think that the idea of God came about giving people somewhere to start from, a fixed frame of reference, so to speak. That's what the NASA people were saying to us. I asked them, why do you use the flat Earth mathematics and models? Well, we need a fixed frame of reference to start from. And for me, God is a theoretical fixed frame of reference for everyone to look at and to believe in and to have confidence that, okay, you didn't just fucking come out of nowhere.
Okay, but then you have what we have here, what we're looking at in Scientific American, okay, is a observation of where we live, okay? But then the people who came before us, thousands of years before us, observed things as well and recorded them as well. So they recorded this theory, this physics theory, visiting them in the form of a human looking being. So you can't disregard eyewitness evidence of people who came before us.
No, I'm not dispensing with historical recollections or events. What I'm saying to you is this: is that there were periods in time where things were very primitive, and then there were times where, you know, when you look at what the Egyptians were able to do, we can't duplicate that to this day. You cannot duplicate the fucking pyramids. You can't go out into the Egyptian desert, the Middle Eastern desert, and put together the same compositions and components and products and sources to literally build a Giza-like pyramid. And have it sit there and have it literally stand out there, subject to the elements for fucking thousands of years, so that 1,000 years from now, people are gonna be like, oh shit, look what John and Vivian and Devar and Robert Shorman and Robert Bassano and Lucas built. We can't do it, and we're supposed to be more advanced.
Well, we're not. I don't think we are. But let me say something.
Where did that come from? Where did they get this information from? God?
Well,
is that what everyone's telling me?
It's all about, well, maybe, but the thing is, maybe very well advanced and maybe very hard, and it's most likely very hard. I think we talked about it, did we, last time when we had lunch? And they had a way to travel that we don't have right now. They could travel, otherwise you would not have any pyramid here in Latin America.
I know they dealt with frequencies. They dealt with frequencies then.
Oh yeah.
Frequencies was very big.
To levitate. And yeah, that is true. But it's all about the approach. Are you going to approach it with the tools you have available, or are you going to try with a clean slate and basically say, okay, I don't know anything, but let's say everything is sound.
I just think it's really interesting that they use frequency then, and they knew it's frequency then, and then you've got Robert Bassano, which we know with quantum mechanics clearly says that vibration is a complex part and the main part of this actual thing we're in completely.
But how did they know this? How did they know how to do this?
Well,
like, where did they get the information? If you're looking in the book of Enoch, it will describe in detail what happened and how humans get this vast information and how it occurred, and I will make you think about how the Egyptians built the pyramids, how the people of the how humans did these stuff, it was taught by higher beings, or or
just tell them, fallen angels.
Yeah, fallen angels.
Well, I think and you won't just see it in the book of Enoch. You will see it in other books, in other civilizations that are not connected with the Bible and not connected with God. You will see it all over.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Yeah, you have other doctrinal treaties that talk about other things coming out of the sky. But again, I go back to this. Why can't any of you consider the possibility that this source is just a theoretical fixed frame of reference, because there was no way for them to even comprehend things on the level that can't be observed.
The reason is that this theoretical force visited our ancestors,
and they were taught,
and they describe him as a human-looking thing. When you look at the Elohim, which is a society of pre-human people, you can notice that thing that visited them that looks like a human that they describe is the leader of that society.
And it's humankind that taught them these things, like things that we're not supposed to know, like a higher source say that we was not supposed to know these things. So that and that is why the flood happened. And
okay, so here's the thing, Luke. Here's the thing. If you're going to assert that there were other beings that come from somewhere else and we were visited, then how does God play into that? Because what you're saying is that there's another intelligent species of beings, all right, organic beings from somewhere else, that they actually do what we are trying to do, which is actually
right. That we call God. That we found a word to describe their superior intelligence.
Exactly. So where's God playing into that?
Robert, God created these beings too, and they disobeyed God, and they came down. We're going to have a disagreement with the Creator.
Luke, you're back to a circular argument. You're saying, if they're more, if we
No, no,
visited,
he's calling God the leader of
Yeah,
these gods.
the leader of these
You have
bombs.
those who disobeyed the leader, and then you have those who did not disobey the leader. So they are all gods. You see how that works? So
yeah,
now,
Well,
when
call
you use
yourself
the
God.
term,
going back,
You guys getting into the ancient astronaut theory, and that's totally bogus. But the true, only true thing about it is that if you have pyramids in Egypt, and you have them in Thailand, in Mexico, in Colombia, all over the world, about the same age, how old they're supposed to be, it means they could communicate and travel. But if they could travel those distances, maybe they try to travel further away, and maybe they found out they couldn't, and maybe then God had to clean everybody's mind, and any proof or anything else to do to start from scratch, basically. Or maybe
Yeah.
we were supposed to have that knowledge and have that knowledge passed on. But who knows? When they found the pyramids, I'm sure they put their hands on some stuff that are not to be disclosed to the common people, because
Yeah.
that would maybe mean something. I don't know.
And
But
Robert,
they were advanced. They were very, very highly advanced. That's for
and
sure.
Robert, and Robert, the same thing that happened in Enoch time is the same thing that is happening now. Beings is coming down and talking to governments in secretly, and giving them information to build these things.
We're talking the same things today.
Disobeying the creator again.
But isn't
Where
You see
you
what's
get,
going on?
hold on a second. Isn't Robert's point more on the what led to the theoretical construct of God? Am I right in that, Robert?
yeah, you're right. You're right.
And we went over this before. Remember, how did we come up with this? And I think we talked about this a few times before, where I said you only had two choices as for the reason for us and what we call the universe. You have two choices. It's either come about by natural phenomena or intelligent design. That's your only two choices. Now, the first and second law of thermodynamics and quantum mechanics tells you that natural phenomena is not the answer. So what's that leave you?
Define natural, because I don't think there's anything natural anyway.
And Vivian brings
Natural,
up the same question
sure.
I asked. Define natural.
Sure, unguided.
Life is unguided, bro.
Unguided process.
A life is an unguided
But
fucking process,
No,
man.
no, it's not.
But then if you
No,
have
it's
DNA is the proof that it's guided.
Yeah, it's DNA and the
It's a guide.
thousands of robots inside each one of your cells.
Oh, boy.
Nanobots.
The answer comes down to functional sequence complexity. And we already went over this.
Yep.
Yeah,
Life,
for me, man,
life is guided. When a tree grow, it is guided.
Well,
Look
that's
at this quote from the opposite of a correct statement is a false statement. The opposite of a profound truth may well be another profound truth. Oh, this is I don't love this one. I heard someone tried the monkeys on typewriters bit trying for the plays of William Shakespeare, but all they got was the collected works of Francis Bacon.
Francis Bacon was one of the fathers of the scientific method.
Here goes your daddy's paper.
Hey, I've got 20 minutes. And we got Italian dinner tonight. A new Italian restaurant here in Podunk, Missouri.
So here's where I'm at, man, with this, okay? Friedrich Nietzsche As I said in the beginning, a man that I read pretty much all his material, especially Thus Spoke Zarathustra. I was going to read it during this, but that's really a long, long read. Um, I'm going to say that the idea of God is dying. Dying. The sciences, the study of science, which we've all said is just another damn religion, which we all don't want to follow.
No. Science isn't a religion.
What is science?
The pretenders. Paleontology, anthropology, archaeology, geology, astrophysics, cosmology, and astronomy. Those are religion. They are not science.
I agree on that.
Quantum physics is science. Anything that follows the scientific method is science. Don't equivocate the two.
Okay, well, if these scientists are practicing their religions, then none of them believe in God. They're trying to disprove the creation of the universe and life to be something spontaneous.
That's right.
Okay?
They're not scientists, though.
That's what they're doing at science.
They're not scientists. No.
Let me correct myself. That's what they're trying to do at CERN. They're trying to find this so-called quote-unquote God particle. All right? They already screwed up 3 times saying, oh, yeah, we found the Higgs boson. And then they found out they didn't find the Higgs boson. They found something else. Okay? They keep finding things. And then I've read an article from a newspaper where a bunch of physicists got together and they said, listen, that they're really disappointed and that there's been no new discoveries in the past 20 years with regard to quantum physics. They said the particles they were looking for, they didn't find them. The things they were expecting to happen didn't happen. The new discoveries that they were expecting to make based on the research they were conducting failed, so they don't know where to go now. So everything that they've been theorizing and hypothesizing can't be proven. Robert and I did a show the other day, okay, on, perceptive reality, where Dr. James Gates says that we don't have the technological capability to observe anything beyond 10 to the minus 18. Okay? Dude, you can't see neutrinos. Neutrinos are supposed to be invisible. Now, when they say invisible, they don't mean that, well, invisible as in they're cloaked, meaning that they can't see them. They don't know what they're doing. But somehow they're moving faster than the speed of light, and guess what? You don't begin to see a neutrino, they claim, at 10 to the minus 16. Actually, no, what was it? 10 to the minus 24, wasn't it, Robert?
Neutrino, yeah.
Yeah, a neutrino at 10 to the minus 24. But get this. Anything at 10 to the minus 16 is not, and beyond that, can't be confirmed. But as we sit and speak right now, billions of them are going through your body, smashing through your bones, organs, everything. Okay? And for me to even consider, seriously consider, that God could be the source of all knowledge and information that has been acquired today and even given to us by whoever visited us thousands of years ago, because we still don't possess the technological capability to look past for our asshole. Okay, that's what Robert and I proved yesterday.
Yep.
But you're going to tell me that there's an omnipotent source out there that is providing this information to another group of people or beings who visit us to give us the information because we're too fucking stupid to understand it and comprehend it. We have the same capability, but we're being prevented from developing that capability to literally receive and transmit information faster than the speed of light.
It's not that we're incapable. We're not read well enough. They are more read enough.
Dude, the average human being lives somewhere, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. Okay? 50 to 80
That's
years
because,
old.
but that's
And
because
you're
of your
telling me
habitat
the lifetime.
and what you eat and how you live, and
No,
because you've been
and I
taught.
understand that, Vivian. It's
But
how
it's
you eat and how you live. But even
but
people
also,
clean and live good, they
well,
can
but hang
live
on.
80, 90 years and
Well,
still
but
be dumb as a fucking rock.
no, but well, hang on, because you've been told that you're gonna live that much longer. But if you've been told, what if you've been told ever since you've been a kid, and maybe been put in a special environment that humans can live up to 400 years? How would your subconscious affect yourself, knowing that you're not going to live 80 years, you're going to live 400, 600? So,
Okay. Well,
voila.
let me go with this then. I'm going to take what you just said. If we told everybody right now on the panel and in chat that
Yeah.
we possess the knowledge right now to tell every individual you're going to live to be 250 years old minimum. Are you telling me that just by giving people the confirmation that they're going to live to minimum 250 years old, you're telling me these people are now going to go out and start searching and start developing the cognitive and
They will.
intellectual capacity and
They will.
capability to get as much knowledge
Yeah.
as possible in 250
And it's called, they don't need knowledge. It's called placebo effect. And that's been proven to be very, very highly effective.
Well, you know what?
And
That's interesting you say that, Vivian, because Nietzsche says the same thing. Nietzsche says, and thus spoke thus through that it's our own consciousness, it's the own pre-programming that we subject ourselves to, where we limit our capability of learning and power and just incredible things, to where we know that our mortality is actually taking control of our consciousness and our intellectual capability, so that when you're born, once you get to a specific age where you know, when you have your first experience as a boy of what death was, to lose somebody, that's when you develop the awareness, shit, I'm going to die too. Fuck it. I'm not going to go and get a master's, a PhD. I'm not going to go out and seek truth, because I've got a limited time and I need to do what I want to fucking do. That's what Nietzsche describes in Das Spokesluster. He says if you can truly let go and truly free yourself, separate your mind from your body, your physical existence, you will literally develop an immortality mindset. You will believe yourself to be immortal, to where time is irrelevant. You won't even look at a clock. You won't comprehend that days and nights are actually the passage of time. You will just go through whatever existence you have, gaining as much knowledge and understanding and comprehension at such incredible speeds, to where literally you will transcend above the level of human consciousness.
Who is Nietzsche?
Friedrich Nietzsche?
Yeah.
German physicist and philosopher.
And philosopher.
Oh, he's a philosopher. I rest my case.
Oh, dude, come on. So was,
you knew.
So was Jesus.
Yeah, but well, let's just say one thing, then, and I agree with what you said just now, Robert. But the thing is, if I'm telling you something, for instance, I'm telling you blue bag or black bag, and you're gonna straight away, I'm gonna implant this thought in your mind. And you have a kid same age as mine, and you know how it works. They watch, they absorb, and they repeat. But that's the thing, and that's why we have a responsibility to maybe teach them that they're not limited as the doctrine, the school system would have them think they are. And it's really hard to break, but it's hard to break away from that. When you're young, you don't have any control of what you're going to be learning. But when you're old, and the older you get, it's harder to let go of those things. So the younger, the new generations of kids, they have a very highly different way of seeing the world, of interacting with the world, just because they have access to so much more information. But that's the problem we have, is the information we have access to is through technology. Therefore, we're always going to be limited by technology. What if information is in the ether? And what if we have, I showed a video where those two doctors told about our brain is basically a quantum computer. So what if were able to unlock our brain to access unlimited information, God's information, and therefore we're not limited anymore by technology? I'm saying that technology is only there to limit us, make us think we need it in order to grow and learn.
No.
I think there's other ways to learn, and that's why it doesn't have to be. But you don't have to have physical entities or beings coming down and teach you how to do something. It's just about unlocking and accessing information. But
no, Vivian, I disagree with you on that. I don't think I'm. As a matter of fact, I am of the belief. Okay, I am of the belief that there is only one way for us to advance intellectually, and it's going to be through technology. It will be always through technology. It has always been through technological advancement. Freeman Dyson says technology is a, well, I'm going to say the word God, because he believed in it. He said technology is a gift of God. It is next to the gift of life. Both are required for the advance of the human condition.
But art imitates life, and if we are able to invent computer, it's because maybe in some level we already are a computer. If you compare ourselves, we are built exactly like the same way a computer is built. The way we process information, we communicate. And how about, well, do you believe in telepathy? Do you believe that people can communicate in long distances? And CIA have done some.
I do believe in that.
And very test is when you there you go. When you have twins brothers, they can communicate. They can feel what the other one is feeling thousands of miles away. But it's just about how you're going to harness that, let's call it power.
Yeah, but
and it's but you're going to be able to use it. But you can communicate with anybody else. Just because.
But here's the thing, Vivian. This is why I'm saying. This is why I asked the question: is God dead? Because if we're looking at our current state, our current human state and condition of where we're at intellectually and cognitively, the things that we're capable to learn and develop and utilize, and we can go even further. And in the technology industry, they said everyone's saying that we're reaching a plateau when it comes to our own human capability to go even further with technology. Okay? Now, with that understanding, if we look back into history, as Luke had explained and Defa, and we all maybe can agree on this, that there was other entities coming to human beings in biblical days, giving information. You got Jesus, you got Muhammad, who said he was visited by the angel Gabriel, who gave him the Quran. You've got the Bhagavad Gita, where they have all these other gods, Shiva, and whatever that shit is at CERN, the goddess of destruction and creation. You got the Greeks talking about Prometheus, all that other shit. If all of these gods were coming down and they were being viewed as gods, the reason why they were being viewed as gods, I'm not going to get into that whole idea of,
because they're way smarter than us, but the god that served is Shiva.
They had more power, they had more capability. But think about this: if there's an omnipotent single source God that created everything, then why the fuck does he have to send other fucking people to teach us and not teach us?
Because we're too dumb. Listen, man.
He didn't send them.
That's why I say God is fucking.
Because we're too dumb to comprehend his language.
God did not send. I don't think
we can't comprehend his language, dude. We're too stupid.
And God didn't send them to give us information.
That's the point. That's the point of why I'm saying what I'm saying is that if we were created in God's image, like the Bible says, right? And then you read the story of Genesis about how he tells Adam and Eve, don't partake of this tree of the forbidden fruit, of the tree of knowledge and good and evil. And then, you know, this other being comes out of nowhere and says, well, hey, God said,
but God forbid. God forbid you access to knowledge, and there's a reason for it.
You have the so-called devil.
It's called free choice.
Listen, you have the so-called. Well, guess what? Eve wasn't supposed to have fucking free choice.
Here's the situation. Okay, he's trying to recreate himself in this little dumb person that we are. Okay, so the best way for that to happen is for us to just do whatever he says, like a son, like a child. You know what I'm saying? Raising a child. If we are way smarter than a 1-year-old child, so that's how he is to us. So we're supposed to do what he tells us to do in order to become equal to or better than him. And when we don't do that, we get punished and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. It's very simple.
Look, I'm going to tell you, this is probably going to piss off a lot of people out in the chat when I say this. I'm going to tell you how I see Genesis. I see Genesis as describing an intelligent machine literally creating another intelligent co-machine. And then what ends up happening, this tree, this forbidden tree of fruit, of knowledge, of good and evil, turned out to be a fucking computer software program that allowed that other intelligent machine to become self-aware. Because what happened to Adam and Eve after they partaked of that tree, and God called out, this is in the Bible, I ain't gonna quote the shit word for word because I don't really give a shit, but when God called out,
you're right, they finally figured out that they were naked.
They finally figured out, oh shit, I'm fucking naked, let me go hide, somebody's calling me.
Yep, they were naked the whole time.
Yeah,
what happened to Adam and Eve is that they became self-aware. That's what we're trying to do in artificial intelligence.
They became self-conscious, dude.
But they were
finally figuring out that you're naked is self-consciousness.
Yeah, but the thing is being...
Wait. Hold on. Devon, I'm sorry about this one, bro. I'm going to have to go on you on this one, bro.
Wait, self-conscious. They was like, oh, man, you're fat. I didn't know you were fat.
No, wait a minute, Devon. So what you're saying is this. If I drugged your ass up right now and put you out on the street and took all your clothes off, you're telling me that eventually that drug's going to wear off and you're going to look around and be like, oh, shit, I'm naked, dude.
That's right. Oh, shit, I'm naked.
So you're saying that has to do with consciousness and not awareness.
No, self-consciousness, which is it's a weakness. You know what I'm saying? You like,
no, I think
I got my teeth are fucked up or something. You know what I'm saying?
No. I think
finally figured this out.
I'm looking at it as self-awareness. Adam and Eve became self-aware, and they basically says, okay, we're sentient, we're self-aware now, we don't need you, goodbye. And God's like, oh shit, you don't need me anymore? Okay, I'm gone. God's dead.
Okay, what's wrong with that?
God's dead.
Hey, Robert. Hey, gentlemen, I'm going to have to go.
Oh, you see how he's picking pasta over us, dude.
I'm going to have to go. I have a dinner date with my family. So, hey, I enjoyed being on here with all you guys. We'll see you next time. And Jesus Christ is the creator. There's only one creator.
You see how he is?
I agree.
Have a nice day, gentlemen.
He's cutting it off. Make the comment.
All right, John, bye-bye.
Prove it.
Yeah. Take it easy, Jay.
Prove it. Even though I agree, you still got to prove it. It ain't what you know, is what you can prove.
Yeah, exactly.
It ain't.
But again, I mean, I'm not discounting the other examples that are put into the Bible, but for me, when you look at, if you were to look at the ancient astronaut theory, you look at what happened in the Sumerian days, the Egyptian days, you look what happened with the Hindus and Indians, where they talk about in the Bhagavad Gita of all these other gods and Shivas and whatever have you. you talk about all of this stuff, okay, metaphysics. There was always someone else giving us this higher level of intelligence. So for me, if this higher level of intelligence is given to us by other sources, right, other than the ultimate God that has not revealed him or herself to us or whatever it may be, but it's giving the information to someone else to give to us, then at what point did the people here throughout history ask themselves, well, shit, if you're giving this information to us, where the fuck did you get it from?
But I think God did that to make a point, because what can after Eve ate the fruit of knowledge, what happened? When sin, and then it all went down batshit from that point, because before that it was all perfect balance, perfect harmony, perfect everything. And that perfection is what God implanted in our minds. That's the goal. We all aim at the same goal to achieve. And even people who say they're not interested into it, we all achieve. We want perfection, meaning that we want to be able to always be 100% and always be good. And but because of knowledge, or because of the we are corrupt. Our minds and art can be corrupt by it, and that's what I was trying to say. With technology, can be a very enhanced and good thing for humanity, but the way it is put out, the way it is sold, and the way it is delivered to the public is not made to empower us, is made to enslave us. So yes, you're going to learn some things about it, but you're going to limit yourself.
I don't look at it that way. I think that
I don't really either.
I think that we were actually separated from technology. Technology was within us and part of us, and somehow someone came to us to separate us from the technology.
Just go anywhere we want.
There you go. I agree with that one.
At the speed of thought.
I think that we were separated from the technology, and now we woken up.
Separated from superior knowledge. That's what happened.
You just showed a video where our brain works like a quantum computer, and then anything faster than instantaneous communications and processing of information by human brains. So that's what I was trying to say. We are built in. We have all the software. We have all the hardware. We've got everything to be much more advanced than anything else. Anything we're going to be able to create. And even if we were able to create AI, which kind of already exists, thank you, Google, they're always going to be limited because it's a human creation. It's not a direct God creation.
No, and I agree with you on that, because once AI takes hold,
they can't
say, well, hey, this was created by a human being. But what everyone's forgetting is that you have organic forms of artificial intelligence already inside you.
Yeah, we have all the tools within us. The only thing is we don't know how to access it, and maybe we are limited because we're not advanced enough, or we don't have enough wisdom, or I don't know how to call it, but we cannot access it for some reason. We are limited. And either we're limited by God or anything else, but we do have the power to have access to any kind of information, to talk to each other without having to call ourselves, just by telepathic. We can predict, we have a sixth sense, we have the pineal gland, and every single one of those senses are under attack. We've got, and I don't want to get into that GMO stuff, but you know it's true. You know that the fluoride, things we eat, and everything is under attack. So that doesn't help either. And we get bombarded with information in school that turns out to be untrue or unproven or passed on as fact when it's only just theories. And that's why we all are here today, is because we found out that the picture they paint us when we were kids is absolutely not what reality does not corroborate with reality. It doesn't make any sense. So we have to approach it with a fresh mind. That's why
there was an important question I wanted to ask everyone. Okay, And anyone who gives me, how should I say this? Just put it this way. The question I'm going to ask, if anyone gives a different answer than from everyone who's out in chat and everyone who's on the panel, you're a fucking liar. Okay? And here's the question that I have. If you were given a chance, if you were given the opportunity to become all-knowing, all-doing, all-seeing, all-hearing, possessor, all-knowledge, literally, in a fucking nanosecond, become all-powerful, would you be open to take it, or
No way.
let it go, or let it go?
I'll take it.
Vivian?
No way. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Because it's all about heaven.
Hold on.
I'm gonna take it with great responsibility, with great what you
Power.
call it?
Great responsibility.
Yeah,
Say it
okay,
again.
well, great.
So I
We
can
got
remember.
Luke. We got Luke saying, "I'll take it." We got
Say it again.
Devar. We got Devar trying to be a
Say it
black
right. I
Superman.
need to know what he said. Hold on a second. Let me learn something right quick. What did it say? What's the quote? The right quote?
With great power,
powers can
great
work.
power comes great responsibility.
Oh, okay. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, dude, yeah, you want to be the black Superman? I know. Okay,
The Black Nietzsche.
the black Superman. So, Robert, what about you?
No, I'd say no. I'd say I'd much prefer to find out things.
Are you serious, dude?
Yeah, it's all about the journey, man. It's about the journey. That's why we're here.
I'm gonna take it.
What's
I'm
the
gonna
point?
take it.
So here's the
Hey,
thing.
because I'm incorruptible, so you're not gonna get me to
No. So here's the thing. We got kind of a paradox here.
Yeah.
Luke and I are the only ones that are agreed. Devar, he said he'll take it, but he'll do good with it. Like that means that me and Luke won't do good with it.
Word.
So that's what Devar's trying to play neutral on this shit. And then we got Vivian and Robert, two of them, I mean, literally, two favorite guys I like as well. They're both saying no, they wouldn't take it. Vivian's taking the Gandhi role and saying no, I like the journey. I want to go through the journey.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
thinking about the
but
work they're gonna have to
that's
put
why
in
we-
with that much knowledge and
I'm
power.
going to tell you here right now. I love you, Robert Shorman. I love you, Vivian. You guys know I do.
Thank you.
But I'm going to tell you here right now. If we were standing in line and they were handing this shit out. Oh, my God. It's my son. If we were standing in line and they were handing this gift out, okay, not only would I fucking take it in a second, all right, but Vivian, I would fucking have the most incredible fucking journey applying all of that knowledge and wisdom and intellect and power and capability.
And then what?
It only gets handed out to the people who are well trained in obedience to the Heavenly Father, man.
Yeah. See, you just trying to play neutral Superman.
But
I'm telling you that you can't get it without a particular discipline, a high level of discipline.
Listen, it's just being given to you. No one cares what the fuck you
No,
do.
sir, they don't
that's
give
the
it to
problem.
damn Mussolini and the rest of them cat.
Nobody wants.
Dude, we're not
Nobody
talking about
wants.
Mussolini, bro. We're not talking about Mussolini. Hey, listen. Hold on for a second. There's a guy in chat. His screen name is Flat Earth is all about East and West, stupid. This guy's a Muslim, okay? He sent me an actual link to his channel. Check him out. His name is Flat Earth is all about East and West, stupid.
Okay.
He's got a video on his channel talking about the potential design and construct and function of the earth. And the Quran actually describes multiple dimension layers of our earth, meaning that there's several different layers. So that when you talk about, say, the United States, Latin and South America, you talk about Europe, UK, wherever, with all these different time zones, what they're saying, what I saw in his video was that everything is on these different time zone layers, right? And you can descend or transcend to one or two levels. They're I guess what he described as heavens. But you got to go to this guy's channel to see this, because it was the most interesting fucking thing that I've ever seen. Okay, I read the Quran, and I understand that they actually spoke about that, but the way he put it together in the video, you don't need to read the Quran if you see this. All right.
Okay.
Robert, I want to say just quickly, once you've gained the whole knowledge of the whole universe and of everything that is and ever will be, once you've got all of that information and you've exhausted every single understanding of every mechanisms and natural things and occurrence and what existed, then what? You know everything.
I knew you were going to go there.
What else? Yeah, of course. But that's the whole point. What else there is to know? When you know already everything, then are you gonna get? You're gonna
then you get bored.
You're gonna get bored very fast.
You get bored and you start over. You destroy everything that you
get bored, and you're gonna raise everything you know and come back with a clean slate, because there's nothing more the purity and having a clean, wiped, fresh brain and having the ability and the possibility to learn from scratch everything and applying and discovering. That's what life is so exciting, because we can discover things every fucking day.
And here's where I knew you were going to go there with that. And I was ready for the. Because here's the thing: possessing, being provided with the gift of all knowing, all seeing, all doing, all power. You know everything. Okay. After you're able to go on a journey to experience applying all of this knowledge and understanding and comprehension, because you know it all, you know how to figure all of it out. You can do it very simply. You can do it very quickly. What happens is that you don't get bored because you know everything and there's nothing else to learn. You now start experimenting with different billions of complex combinations and variations of applying that knowledge.
You keep what you already created because you're proud of what you've created. You're like, man.
No, you're proud of it. But here's the thing: you go on
to new and bigger and better things.
Exactly. And you become even more advanced than what you already are.
So you just described God, basically. You just described.
What was that? No, that's not true. That's not true.
Because you just said you were going to do that. You're going to fabricate a construct of reality and experience and see what happened. But what I'm saying is that where we are and what we live under, this is exactly it. We are able to have an experience of something, and He's here witnessing everything we're doing.
Dude, I did a presentation on the undergraduate level. And you know what? I started with a quote. And this stands for everybody that's listening that's in the chat. We are all born geniuses. We choose to be ignorant.
And ignorance is bliss. So
ignorant
is bliss. I tell you, people don't know much.
What I described as being omnipotent. I'm not comparing that to God. I'm saying being better. Being better than this fixed frame of reference. God is a fixed frame of reference, and it ended the existence of God ended when Adam and Eve partaked of the tree and became self-aware, and they had no need for God anymore.
Agree, and that's why the Bible says
God just withered away
knowledge of man
died.
Knowledge of man is foolishness to God.
Robert, he continued, you know. But if you read after that, you're going to see it still have a God.
No.
Yeah, God chased Adam and Eve out of the garden. Then God reduced the lifespan. And then God caused the flood to come upon the earth because of the wickedness on the earth. You know? It still have a God. He then died.
That's right.
Look, man,
if you kill one of his people that's smart enough to do what you're talking about, or if you just indiscriminately kill too many people, that's even retarded.
Hey, Robert, let me ask that question. Let
Yeah,
me
you're
ask that
gonna be destroyed. You're gonna die too. That's just how it goes.
All right, let me ask you guys this: if you had bits of information that you wanted to put out right now, and only you understood what that information was, who do you think is listening to you?
Robert, those are not only.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
No
Thank you
one.
for listening.
If I ask each one of you, share some information with me that only you understand.
Well, but that's the thing. We are very intriguing. We want to know. We have curiosity. But I mean, what we're talking about right now, I can assure you that 80-90% of people won't even want to know. They don't care. They just, you know. So.
Okay. Well, let me ask Robert Shortman this. Robert, have
Yeah.
you ever written things down on paper and you look at it and you say to yourself, that was the most incoherent thing I've ever written down. I don't even understand it.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Vivian, have you done the same thing?
Yeah, we all do at some point. Yeah, you're
Luke,
right.
have you done that?
Yeah.
Have you done
Yeah,
that?
I done that.
Devad, Devad, have you thought about something or written something down that even you don't even understand?
Not at all. I'm not smart enough yet to write something
Oh,
down.
dude, come on, man.
I ain't never wrote something down that I don't understand. My
No,
brain
I'm
don't
just
work
saying,
that way.
have you ever had an incoherent thought or said something that was incoherent that you didn't understand?
The only time was I had a thought about the universe being like a undulating bubble, and
Dude, I'm talking about something.
I didn't
No, I'm
comprehend
talking
what I
about
was
something just completely fucking alien that made no sense to anybody, even if you tried to
Well,
explain
that didn't make sense to me.
it.
It might make sense to y'all. I'm from the country.
Oh, shit. But look,
What is that shit?
the reason why I'm asking that question is this: if we all had incoherent thoughts and said incoherent things that we couldn't even explain on a rudimentary level, who's actually listening to that information? Where did that information come from?
Our source.
From what source?
God.
Yeah, you don't know. You have to go. See, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is that you all have to go back to that fixed frame of reference, which you've been told it's got to be God because we can't observe anything else. So there's got to be something else there. Robert and I talked about this the other day in a hangout. If you can't observe it, you can't experience it. Then the only logical thing for you to do is wait a minute. If I can observe this, but this is my limit to where I can go, there has to be something on the other side of that wall because how the fuck did this get here? So you have to create something on the other side of that wall. But what's going to happen, I'm going to tell you this shit right here, right now. What's going to happen is when you do get a chance to look over that wall, thinking that there's going to be something on the other side that created what you're looking at on this side, and you see there's fucking nothing there, you're going to be seriously fucking disappointed. Because what's going to happen, and I said this to Robert just the other day, what you're looking for, you can go to the bathroom right now and look in the mirror. The answer is looking you right in the fucking face. Right in the face. This God you're looking for, this answer you're looking for the creation and your existence and what your purpose and everything is you're looking at it right in the mirror.
I don't believe that.
Once you can figure out how to tap into your own abilities, the gifts, whatever it may be. I mean, when I was learning how to meditate, right, I had read a piece of literature that talked about how you needed to actually get a really in-depth understanding of biomedical sciences, chemistry, physiology. You had to learn about your body first. Once you spent that time learning about your own human body and how it functions, how it responds, how it reacts, how it develops, then you start learning how to meditate. And when you start to learn how to meditate, what you do is this. You take that science book where you learned about biology and you look at the structure of what that one cell looks like in your body. You close your eyes, you breathe, you get yourself into this singular state of being, and you put yourself inside that cell in your own fucking body at the tip of your toe, and you move, you travel from the tip of your toe all the way up to the top of your head and scan your entire body, and by the time you're done doing that meditation session, you forget what the fuck you really are. You're somewhere you never even fathomed existed. And let me tell you, it ain't a spiritual experience, it ain't a religious experience. Okay? I don't know what the fuck it is, but I've done it. And not only is it exhaustive, but it's fucking liberating, bro. Because you now get access to information that has been kept from your own being that they don't teach in any school, in any textbook. You learn about self. That's why I literally read that first statement by Nietzsche. The individual himself is a fallacy. It's in the description section. Everything which happens in us is in itself something else which we do not know. You don't know because you don't have the time to go there. You're using time. Like Vivian says, when you take away time from the equation, you could literally do what you want to do.
Bro.
You could go where you want to go. You could be what you want to be.
Listen.
Thoughts become things.
Listen. Your parents created you. Their parents created them.
No, I chose my parents. I chose my parents. I willed myself into existence.
You chose your parents. Your parents were created.
No.
By other parents.
No.
They chose their parents, and they chose their parents, and they chose their parents.
I don't think so. Prove it.
Oh, you're the only one who chose your parents. Your parents didn't choose their parents.
We all chose. Listen, you decided to be here. Right. You think that your parents getting together, they're like, oh yeah, you know, let's have a little boy. We're gonna name him Bob. I don't think so. It was a roll of the dice, brother.
You chose to be here, and your parents chose to be here, and
it was a roll of the dice. Your very existence.
So you chose to be here, but your parents didn't choose to be.
Dude, you are the crap shooter, and you're hoping
your parents did not choose to be here.
Dude, it's like a game of craps. You're rolling the dice, hoping you get snake eyes on every roll. That's what it is, brother. You're gambling. You may not be aware of it, but literally, your entire genealogical bloodline is a fucking crapshoot. It's a crapshoot.
Is it a crapshoot, or did you choose to be here?
It's a crapshoot, and you're hoping you hit snake eyes, meaning your mother.
Okay, so you roll the dice
together to produce.
Roll the dice and won the right to be here. That's what happened.
And you won the right to be here. That's right, brother. Either you had luck on your side.
That's not much of a choice. That's luck.
Listen, you either had luck on your side, and you developed to the age you are right now, you know, a strong, healthy man, or you were aborted.
I hope I wasn't aborted.
You're talking, aren't you? You're talking, aren't you? I'm not talking to an artificial machine, am I? Now that's just me saying that. That's just me saying that. No one needs to believe that. No one needs to accept that. But for me, there was a point in time where God may have existed, and then he just went away. Because I'm not of the belief that there's a God.
Hey, hold. That's what the Bible says. That I'm finna go back to my place and wait till you realize that you're wicked.
And that is when Nietzsche said the same thing. You got people still literally.
Oh, he clearly must have understood the Bible.
You got people looking to a source that is no longer around. You're on your own. You've been on your own since you were born. Period.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
I don't know about that one.
You're on your own.
If that was true, then the humankind would have ended a long time ago. Very long time ago, if that story was true.
That doesn't mean that humankind didn't develop into some sort of communalism type of society and process where they said, hey, we need to all get along. We need to all get along to go along. We need to all go along to get along. I mean, you can't have people just. It wasn't a Sigmund Freud or, you know, survival of the fittest situation. It's not about. I mean, animals live survival of the fittest. The weak get eaten up by crocodiles and fucking lions and shit. And the same happens in human society. Weak people are preyed upon for whatever reason.
General, if that was true that it didn't have no God and God died long time ago, then everything in existence will have died long time ago.
And that's my point, is that you still feel like if you don't believe in God, you have no existence. So your existence is based on something that you can't even prove.
Yeah,
so
I could prove it.
No, but what does that make your life? What does that say about your life? Is your life is your life priceless or worthless? Because my life is priceless. I don't need to believe in God to know that I'm worth more than my weight in gold and what I can offer to the rest of humankind. I don't need to believe in God. I know what I can give to the rest of humanity.
Okay, give me an example of a worthless life.
You believing on something that is not there and you can't prove.
Robert, I can prove it.
It's a worthless existence to me. To me, I'm not saying that to everybody. To me, I see it. If someone says to me, "You better say you believe in God, or we're going to kill you," well, then you might as well kill me, because that's the only way I'm going to be free. Because I don't.
Death is not freedom, man.
What?
Death is not freedom,
bro. Death of the physical body. Death of the physical body. Let me tell you something. Everybody has a thought.
You gotta be alive to be free, man.
You are trapped in the meat sack you walking around in, bro.
You gotta be alive to be free, though.
Okay, you gotta be alive to be free. Then explain to me why people do drugs to get high. Because they want to leave their fucking body. They want to be somewhere else. Explain why people get fucking drunk.
Because they think death is freedom.
I agree with Robert on this one, because
it's not about them thinking death is free. They have an experience of being free from the physical realm.
Temporarily.
The wages of sin is death.
What was that?
The payment for sin is death. The liberation from sin is death.
Okay, Jesus. Judas.
I take over. John not here, so I had to take over.
Yeah, man. I just, for me, and we could keep going on and on and on and on and on and on. I wanted to have this conversation.
Yeah, that was a good conversation, though.
I wanted to have this conversation. It was mainly about information, and again, you know, if you believe you can have your own thought and it's original, okay, it's original.
What? There ain't no such thing as no original thought, man. Everything you learn is external.
Everything you learn is external. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
Then how is it that I could think of a piece of advanced technology that could be created that no one has ever written a paper about it? On this earth.
And we have free will.
That's because there are people there are beings that are not that are smaller.
Oh, so now you're calling me an alien?
No, there are people who are smarter than you psychopathically
Gave me
told
the
you.
information.
That's right.
Now listen. If anybody doubts what I'm saying, there are two people who actually saw the paper that I wrote for my final course on the graduate level. I showed that paper to Robert Shortman the other day. Robert, right? It was a PhD who graded it, right? What did he say?
It says, yeah, 100%.
He said, I shouldn't be writing about this shit on the graduate level. I should jump straight to the PhD level. That's what he said. He says, don't waste your time on the graduate level. This is a PhD level paper.
Yeah.
He said he couldn't even comment on the substance of the subject because it was something that was beyond him. Devon's saying that I got this from fucking some aliens out there.
Dude, you got it from external. When you get information from external, you can process it internally and come up with, you can put the pieces together internally and come up with something greater.
Now I want everybody to know, Devon is probably a fucking 44th cousin in my bloodline.
Oh, here we go.
He basically told me, man, you ain't damn smart enough to come up with something that damn unique. Some aliens must have came to you. That's what Devon just said.
We all have free will.
But you never know. You never know what is going to come of it, man. You never know.
It's true.
I mean, there are people who create things and come up with things where you have to ask yourself, how the hell did they come up with that idea? Somebody had to give it to them, and they get questioned.
Okay. Think about something primitive, right? Say something like a stoplight or something. He learned all that information externally, and then processed it internally, and said, "Man, we need people to stop right here. So, what's the best way to get them to stop? Train them to that red means stop, and then put it in the form of a light, and green means go."
I can tell you this here right now. If you were in China during a period of time where red is actually a powerful color, you see red, you running that motherfucker.
Speed up.
You see red, you're running, bro. You're putting the pedal to the metal, bro. You're running that red.
That's where information comes in, because we have a predisposed understanding that red means speed up.
Yeah.
Information.
Well,
not
I know.
communication, not language.
You live in the U.S., that light turned yellow and shit. That means shit. Don't slow down. Fucking keep going, bro. Just push through it.
Yep, same in the UK.
All right, so here's what I want to do. We've been talking for a while. I want to look at the chat. I want everybody to go to the chat to see who's asking what question. If anybody's got any questions, please feel free ask. I've been seeing a lot of comments out there. Why is a funeral fun? What? Wanda says, why is a funeral fun real? A funeral fun? Wanda, you got to explain that one. Jose Nova says yellow means
because we all die, and you got to fund the funeral. So clearly somebody is smarter than you who doesn't die. Clearly.
I'm actually a believer in multiverses, in parallel universes. I think that there's another version of me somewhere else that actually gave me the information.
You done watched the one too many times.
No, dude. I mean,
the one. You done watched it too many times.
I watched that, The Matrix. Come on, dude.
There ain't no gay version of you, dude. It's just motherfucking.
It could be, man. You never know. Wait. Rick and Morty, man.
You're all you got. This is all we got. Is the earth? Is it? It's over.
Eddie Russett says, Robert, are you a Rick and Morty fan? Is he talking about Robert Shortman or me? Have you seen the Apollo 11 theory about The Shining? Oh yeah. Cam Bradshaw says, hey, everybody saw that movie The Shining with Jack Nicholas, right?
Yeah.
Where they talk about how Stanley Kubrick, he put clues of the Apollo 11. He had the kid on. The kid was walking through the hotel. He had a sweater on that had an 11 on it. He had a rocket that showed Apollo 11. Then they showed the room number and all that kind of stuff. I've seen that. Nowhere. Wanda says nowhere means now, here. Oh, shit.
Damn. Wow. I like
Rick
that.
and Morty is a cartoon. It's about alternative. No. I never seen that, Eddie. Rick and Morty, he says a cartoon is about the alternative universe. You said earlier that Muhammad is
All
regarded as...
cartoons are fucking alternative
I
universe.
never said Muhammad al-Mustafa, peace be upon him, was ever a god. I never said that. Muhammad was not. He was a messenger. They said he was a messenger of God.
Muhammad never existed, man. Why are you telling these people that Muhammad
Wait. You said Muhammad never existed?
Where is the record of his existence?
You do. What you just created was called halal. Okay?
What is
you
that?
probably going to get cut off for that.
What? What?
You probably went there. You better never go to the Middle East.
Someone was beaten by the Roman troops, guys.
What is that?
Mick Davis wants to know, do we believe that we have a soul? Any of you guys believe we have a soul?
You talking about like a life-giving spirit that animates our dust and particles?
Okay, well the answer is yes, you believe in it.
Have you guys seen the movie 21 Grams?
I don't believe in a soul.
I
think what Tesla described is all electric, man. It's all electric. Yep, Akaria says no. We are all goddesses and gods, all-knowing, omnipotent, pure love, truth, and wisdom. There you go, right there. You said it right there. We're all gods. Because somewhere else...
Dude, that comes straight out the Bible, dude.
No. Listen. Because understand this. If we want to
would not know that if the Bible was not recorded back in the day.
Men
if you want to
are
believe
God's image.
If you want to believe other people came here, if you want to believe that other people came here to give us intelligence, that means that if we're stupid, then there has to be some people, who are even more ignorant than we are, who look at us as God.
That's right. That is true. And you don't know about let me see here. SFOs, submerged what you call it? Submerged unidentified USOs. The unidentified submerged objects.
Yep.
Okay, so they're way smarter than us. They got way more better technology than you know right now because you haven't read up on it.
Well, I tell you what, Devon, you keep saying that you're not.
You can easily get to that level, but you got to have a certain level of responsibility in knowing that information.
I agree.
Well, you know what, Devon, you just proved my village idiot theory.
What's that?
Meaning that there is a world out there where literally people who don't feel that there is intelligence enough and smart enough, they can become the kings and queens of the village idiot.
That's exactly what happens every day. The kings and queens don't know shit. They rule everybody, don't they? The motherfucking Rothschilds and motherfucking Bilderbergers and all them motherfucking
They know.
pedophiliacs.
They know on the very high level. I think they know about the construct we live in.
Eddie
that's advantage they have on us because they know and they have access to some kind of technology and we don't, and that's why they have access to wealth and power because they have access to things we will never have access to.
Hey, listen, Eddie Russo said something very interesting about the Bible, and I agree with him. He says if the Bible was about truth, they would have banned it a long time ago. Now he's right. He's absolutely correct because a lot of books that have come out speaking about the truth and telling the truth, they fucking ban those books.
The Bible has been banned many times. What are you talking about? They burn them. They burn them many times.
You don't get where he's going with this. Eddie's saying if the Bible was about truth, they would ban it a long time ago. What he's trying to say,
been banned many times.
The Bible that exists today
is
today.
not true. So another way that they ban it is to ridicule it and make it like
no.
It does not exist.
It's not about making up science and fake fucking science, and that's basically the exact opposite of the Bible. Everything science we've been taught about is about just the opposite of the Bible. How they describe our world and how it's exact opposite. So I don't know. I'm saying it's Bible. They try to disprove the Bible, but the problem is like the more advanced we get, the more we realize that there's actually quite a lot of fucking truth in that book. And
here's what Wanda says.
Wanda said they have banned it by making it sure that everybody says that it's just fairy tales. So
yeah, there you go.
Since they realize they can't burn them all, and people are just going to keep reprinting.
That's not banned.
Sir, listen. Since they realize they can't burn them all, and people are going to keep reprinting them, they just make it that bullshit. They just make it bullshit.
I've been
in the public psyche, they make it seem like it's bullshit.
No, you did it.
It's true. You can't escape it. It's true.
Hey, Hope. Beat up Robert, Hope.
What was that?
He probably doesn't even know your first name.
What was that?
I was telling Hope to beat you up, but he probably doesn't even know your first name.
But listen here. Wanda made a comment. She says that the true creator speaks in the language of symbols.
No, absolutely not. Symbolism.
Uh-oh.
Well, okay. Well, you know, the creator created all the languages. You know what I'm saying? There was only one language.
Whoa. Wait. Devon, come on, man. I told you, no drinking during the hangout. No drink. Did you just say that the creator created all the languages?
Yeah.
To confuse people.
Yeah, she said that the creator speaks in symbols. So, okay, so there was only one, according to the book, there was only one language, and the creator made all the other languages.
No.
I'm just telling you what the book said.
What book?
The Bible.
The Bible don't say that.
The Bible don't say that.
The Bible don't say that. The Bible.
It says in the Tower of Babel, there was one language, and then they tried to create something for themselves to prop themselves up instead of giving honor to the creator.
To reach
okay, which is what people do. People prop themselves up instead of giving honor to the creator, and then the creator comes down and then destroys what you're doing. And so he created all the languages.
Wait. So what's your theory on the Tower of Babel?
I'm only repeating what the Bible says. The Bible says that there was one language. They created they were trying to build the Tower of Babel. So in order for them to not be successful in creating something for themselves and honor themselves instead of the creator, he sent Elohim down to confuse the languages. So he created many different languages, and then they stopped building because they couldn't communicate with each other. So then they migrated it all throughout the earth with different languages.
And made everybody.
That's what the story says.
Yeah, and made everybody stupid and confused the fuck out of everybody. With all
they were stupid for not giving honor to the creator.
Oh man, see, I thought you were gonna be on my side tonight, man. You Judas. You Judas. I got two Judases out here, man. God.
They were stupid for not giving honor to the thing that created them. The creation should not be pissed off about what the creator wants done. They're gonna work. The creation is gonna work for the creator regardless of whether he wants to or not. So well, you might as well do it willingly. If you do it unwillingly, you're gonna do whatever he wants done anyway.
Look, brother, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna be on a mission to set you free from bondage.
Hey, Robert.
I'm gonna baptize you in the truth, brother.
Robert,
I'm gonna set you free.
Have you
death is not freedom. Only life.
I ain't saying I'm gonna kill you. I'm not gonna kill you.
No, you can only be free by being alive. Is what I'm saying.
Robert Shortman, I could ask that question. I could ask Robert Shortman this.
Yep.
If you create, let me say, a bunch of robots, like small little robots, you put them in a big dome, let me say a 1 mile dome, you cover it, you put artificial stuff and little stuff that robots could eat and and maintain themselves and do other things. Will you need to know you will want to know every single thing and know every single thing that these robots are doing every single time they do it, because you make these robots, so you want to know which part they go in the dome, what they're doing, did they build something? You need to know these things, so you fix it in a process so you could observe these things all at once.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
And that could be the same thing that God did when He created us. Before that, He created our way. So when He created us, He could observe us at once,
and that's why
at the same time.
A quantum
That's
computer.
A great point. That's a great point.
And if we've got a quantum computer,
if I make an automobile, I know that the automobile is going to be used to transport people wherever. Yep. So I already know this, so it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? I already designed it to do this thing.
Now, let me tell you something about the automobile. The automobile is a backwards fucking thinking fucking piece of technology. If you look at some of the shit that they drew on the inside of these pyramids thousands of years ago, the automobile is not an advanced fucking tool, dude.
Sure.
All right? It's not. It's not, dude.
Powered car.
I mean, shit, we were fucking flying fucking thousands of years ago. And all of a sudden they put us on
beats fucking donkeys and fucking horses and shit.
Robert.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but
somebody came around and lifted up the hood and said, look, there's horses in there. And somebody said, Robert was there and said, where the fucking horses? There ain't no fucking horses. Where horses are like 6 feet.
Yeah, but
hey,
Robert.
Listen. I want to read something, guys. Phobos says that if we actually had the capability to build the pyramids, right, but somebody had decided to say we can't. Like, I mean, I see where he's going with this. If we did possess the knowledge and capability to build the pyramids the way they did back in the day, do you think that they would allow it to happen? For one, I don't even think we got the fucking equipment to live.
I mean, they allowed it to happen with that.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. I don't
think
as
the motherfuckers don't know, I guess they would allow it to happen. You know what I'm saying? Remember that location where that damn heavy ass door is on the pivot? Huh? You know what I'm talking about? Where that old man built the whole damn like little house or some shit with super heavy blocks, and people theorized that he was using vibration to move the blocks.
The coal tower, yeah.
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 So the knowledge is here. You know what I'm saying? If he was to publicize that, they wouldn't have stopped him. They would just, who cares? They wouldn't have stopped him at all.
Well, I don't know. I think they would have done, because they did even with the chap that made the water engine. They soon shut him down, and many of those people have soon been either paid off with patents.
Right, the water engine. You're right.
They're paid off with patents, and then basically told, well, either you shut up, or we're going to shut you up, or we'll give you some money and you can shut up.
Right.
So they give them the option just to be quiet, basically.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Hey, I want to know. There's a guy that's supposed to be in there. Mike Pyle is supposed to be in chat. I don't know if he's still here. Told him I'd give him a shout out. Mike Pyle. I don't know if he's still in here. Yeah, it doesn't look like he is. He shared some information with me today regarding NASA. Oh, dude. Man, that was some crazy shit, bro. Crazy stuff. Apparently, FedEx delivers shit to some facility, stores it in a warehouse, it sits there, and then another shipping service picks it up and takes it somewhere else. Now, why would you think that NASA would do some shit like that? Why would you have, say, FedEx deliver some shit to a facility, put it in a warehouse, and then have, say, UPS pick it the fuck up and take it somewhere else? They don't want FedEx to know where it's going.
It's a great way of keeping making sure that you're still spending that same amount of how many billions per
I mean, that's some
year.
dumb shit, man. That's crazy. Mike is here. Yeah, he's in the chat right now. Mike.
Oh, come up in your face.
I thought that was weird. That, I mean, when he told me, I was like, that's the heavy compartmentalization, or they're spending money.
My reasoning is that it's the same reason that they brought humans on a UPS plane into an airport.
When?
Some months ago, about 4 months ago.
Wait. They had people on a fucking
UPS plane, landed in the airport, and put them on trucks.
Are you shitting me, dude?
UPS trucks. So you tell me why they did that, then I'll tell you why NASA did what they did.
Wait, were they refugees?
Your guess is as good as mine. I know that it was humans on UPS planes, flew into the United States, and put on UPS trucks. I don't know the destination or none of that, or I don't know where they came from or nothing. There's a bunch of theories about it.
Caleb says they were bringing Mexicans in there.
So get over the wall.
Oh, shit, dude. And the Driss says those refugees from Syria. Oh, dude, that is crazy. Yeah, he says you don't have to go through customs and shit. Yeah, I was talking to Mike today, man, and we were going over the state of the situation in the United States, man. It's getting fucking bad, bro. It's getting bad. And everyone's saying that something just foul is going to happen before the end of the year, man. Foul. It's all leading up to it, man. I mean, you got law enforcement agencies ignoring, threat type of behavior. You got, I don't know, man. It's not looking good. It's not looking good in the U.S., man.
I don't know. Really bad. Really fucking bad.
Not looking good.
Yeah, that's why I'm about to get out of here.
Yeah, guys, come to Colombia. It's the best.
Oh, it's beautiful. Tell them, David.
Nice. Oh, man. I'm not leaving. I'm staying here.
We are in paradise, bro. We're literally in paradise every day. Every day.
Yeah, it's springtime all year long.
That's right. That's why they call it the city of eternal spring, Medellin. All right, people. So this was a good one. I don't know what the hell we're gonna talk about next week, but we'll find something to talk about. But if anyone's got any suggestions, feel free. Do send me an email. You want us to talk about something? We don't know everything, but we're looking to learn just like the rest of you guys are. Robert, you researched the occult roots of NASA JPL opera. Yeah, I have. Pool 12344 asked me did I research the occult roots. I don't like diving into the occult too much because that's kind of some sick shit. And I always stumble across
hidden.
Yeah, I always stumble across information I shouldn't be looking at, man, and it just gives me bad dreams and shit.
That's why it's called a cult, because
Juan says, is Colombia like they depict in the Narcos? No. Colombia, they are not fucking... Vivian and I are not fucking working in the cocaine factories in Medellin.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
The cocaine factory.
Yeah, somebody said, hey, is it like they show in the fucking Narcos? No. I'm going to tell you here.
It's hilarious.
I watch the news every morning here in Colombia, and unlike Mexico and the U.S., they're not showing fucking pounds and tons of fucking weed and cocaine on the table being seized in Colombia. Okay? People here can't even fucking afford to smoke a blunt, any weed. All right.
No, but you can. Hey, you know, weed here is legal. I mean, you can. It's allowed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the people here.
But people they don't
working
care. They
their
don't give a
ass
shit.
off.
They don't use it. People don't care about that.
The people here in Colombia are working their ass off to live in fabulous fucking high-rise apartments with security, and they are at the malls every fucking day spending thousands of dollars looking fucking fantastic. I'm telling you.
That's about true.
Okay, I'll leave you with this. On the topic of God, there is a God. I know for a fact, me personally, because I have met God, and that's what I will leave the viewers with.
Okay, I'll leave you with this. I asked you as a friend, please do not drink when we're doing these hangouts. Okay.
Who the fuck is drinking? Okay, so what brand am I drinking? What am I drinking?
No, because you told me that you were gonna have a 40. You told me you were gonna have a 40 before we did the show. So I know you probably was drinking while we were talking. I'm kidding with you, bro. No. And Curry, just to let you know, the security down here is not expensive at all. Vivian and I walk around in the middle of the night and nobody rob you, none of that kind of shit. If you live in an apartment complex here, I mean, literally, what you pay for homeowners association, you get private security. The police are walking around everywhere saying hello to people. You walk into an elevator, people you don't even know, and says, hasta luego. They're saying hello to you and goodbye in an elevator. That's how nice it is here.
Every building has private security. I have private security here in my condo.
Yeah, we got security where I live too.
Yeah, that's the way it is, you know, and creates job also. It's a common thing. People are very used to it.
And there's cameras everywhere. So put it this way: if there was a robbery here in Medellin, say at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, before the fucking sun goes down, they'll put it on the news. That person will be in jail before fucking midnight. Because somebody will be like, I know that cabron. He lives right across the street from me. He robbed that place today. And the police go arrest him.
And the cops don't joke here, but there's no joke. There's no fucking PC bullshit. And it's all about, okay, you know, straight to the point. So it's pretty effective.
That's how it is, man. That's how it is.
No, it's great. It's great. It's great.
I think that Colombia is all dangerous or whatever have you. Maybe Bogota is really dirty, but Medellin, Colombia, you can come here and have a fantastic time. Ain't nobody worried about your damn crazy ass when you come down here. Just don't get stupid. Get face drunk and start breaking and slamming things over.
I'm trying to get all the viewers down to Colombia, man.
Yeah, you guys can call.
I'm trying to get all the viewers down to Colombia.
But check it out. Just type in Medellin in Google Images.
You're gonna get them vice lords and crips and them politicians and all kind of shit down in Colombia.
But not really. That's the thing. It's not. It used to be that way 25 years ago, but because corruption sets in.
Snowden is a limited hangout. Edward Snowden. I don't know what to think on that dude, man. I don't know what to think on him. How much is the rent? He wants to know how much the rent is in Colombia. I think. Let's see. We live in a two-bedroom. We live in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and we pay about $900 a month.
Furnished.
Furnished, yeah.
I don't rent, but I've got another apartment which I'm going to be renting a few months from now, and I'm going to be renting it for like 700 for like fully furnished, 1,000 square feet. Something like that.
700 is that Section 8 or the hood or something?
Sorry?
700 a month. That's low, right?
Yeah, that's 700.
Yeah, that's like the bad part of town, eh?
Nah, yeah, but here it's fully furnished in a very nice part of town, like just right next to bars and restaurants, like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you know, I could rent for more, but anyway, I'm not using it, so I'm gonna furnish it and rent it. So.
Yeah, Wanda wanted to know if there's heat included. You don't need heat down here. Nobody turns on.
It's heat at the equator for.
It's springtime down here every day.
They're 2 steps from the equator, man.
Yeah, but you're like 1,200 meter up in the mountain, so it doesn't go below 15 degrees and it doesn't go higher than 30 degrees all year round.
Here's something. Earth is around says that they posted my aerospace bill on Facebook and NASA blocked it. It shows when I go on, but not visible when I go on my friend's account. Just wondering if it's okay. Listen, you guys out there, you can mirror and post anything you want from my channel. I don't have any issues about it. Mike Powell wants to know about medical. Medellin, Colombia actually has the best care in the Western Hemisphere, bro.
Yeah, and the eye surgery.
They got one of the most advanced hospitals out in Rio Negro near the airport.
The only reason I'm going down there is to get married, and then I'm gonna move.
Well, before you know it, you're gonna get married.
And I'm gonna move somewhere cold.
Well, that's the thing. When you go up in the mountain, like about just climb like 800 meters, and at night like below 10 degrees. I mean, it's really cold. It doesn't get hot ever. So if basically you drive an hour up in the mountains and it's cold, and you drive an hour down, and that's tropical. That's very hot. So.
Damn, y'all motherfucking, you do describe it as fucking paradise.
Yeah, it's very close. Just type in and just look at the pictures, man. It's green everywhere, trees everywhere.
Wow.
It's got the best public transport system in the world. So.
Hey, baby, tell them that there's places you can go where you walk down the boulevard. If you see a mango tree, you pluck it right off and you eat it right off the tree.
Oh yeah, there's mango trees and lime trees and. Fucking everywhere.
Pluck it right off the tree.
That's some smart governing they got.
The sun appear like it's moving away from you in Colombia. Yeah, the sun does move like it's moving.
Fucking fruit trees would probably be illegal in the United States.
Yeah.
They probably are fucking illegal.
No, it's just illegal to eat it. That's all. You wouldn't be able to eat it. You could only look at it.
Listen, guys.
Anyways.
Everyone out in chat, man, it's been fun. We really love sharing information with you guys. If you got any suggestions of what you think you want us to talk about, it don't involve religion, it involves something else regarding science. A lot of the videos we already put out. If you want to mirror and share those, be my guest, go for it. I will tell you this right now, that no one should be getting, if you repost the calls that I did with NASA, no one should be getting in trouble with those. They shouldn't be blocked. Because I found out, I made it like a general inquiry. I wanted to find out if maybe, maybe NASA might have called the FBI and said, hey, this guy illegally recorded phone calls. There's been no complaints at all. There's been no fucking criminal complaint or nothing like that, no violation. It was, it was like any other fucking call. And if they wanted it taken down, if NASA really wanted that taken down, it would have been taken down off of YouTube before it was taken down off of Facebook. So if Facebook is actually blocking it, they don't have a legal right to block it because YouTube didn't, and nobody else didn't. And if NASA had a really big issue with it, I'd have got a copyright strike and a community violation strike, and nobody would be able to listen to that at all. So as you guys can all see, it's still up there. So if it's getting blocked elsewhere, like on Facebook or Twitter or something like that, you guys got to challenge that on your own. I can't do it for you. I don't do Facebook. I don't do Twitter. All I do is YouTube, and I got a Gmail address. I don't even have Google Plus, man. So other than that, I don't know what else to tell you. But you're all welcome to, repost, re-edit, slice, cut, whatever you want to do with anything that I put out there. And if you need access to any of the documentation that I have in my cloud, send me an email. I'll send you an invite to have access so you can go poking around some of the documentation. I have not used all the documentation that's in that cloud file. So you might find something I haven't talked about. You may like it, and you'll feel free to post it. It's not my information. I didn't generate it. I got it from every government agency out there. So it's for the taking for any of you guys to talk about. I know that Robert Shortman's going to be focusing more on Antarctica. There's a bunch of photos. There's probably Robert, there was like 132 of them that I downloaded, didn't I?
I grabbed about 20 or 30 yesterday, but there's a huge amount.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So Robert's got his channel, Doomweaver, where he's going to be talking more about Antarctica. He's got a bunch of docs. He's going to be addressing stuff, so you might want to go to his channel. Devon's got Claim Your Inheritance. A bunch of Christians attacked him, Judas. That's what you get. And he got a community strike, so he can't do no videos no more. Because a Christian channel actually attacked him. Where's your God? Where was God on that one, huh?
Hey, they can only do what God allows them to do, okay?
Yeah, God does. Yeah, he didn't want you talking about something that day, did he?
Which most Christians don't understand. I'm focusing on money.
Yeah, okay. That's the problem. That's the problem with Christianity. They never understand. Their view is the only view, right? And please talk about the lady who was at the Ring of Fire next. I couldn't find much of it. The lady at the Ring of Fire.
She talking about when we were talking about the other day when the woman went to the edge and came back with a simple message and a camera that the guy exposed the.
Oh yeah. I heard. Yeah. I gotta look into that more. Rach, if you have she said she couldn't find much about it. I think I probably got the same information she's got. I've been looking for information on that lady too, and I think that was some sort of fucking intelligence community type of thing because the fact that they exposed that film on that camera, that was bullshit. I think that was intentionally done for whatever reason. But there's no archive files on that lady at all. But I'm gonna go searching. Talk about radiation next week, like uranium and nukes, fake or real. Okay, we'll do that.
Fake.
Who else?
Fake.
Earth Realm says, the lady's name is Andrea Barnes. She's Canadian. Andrea Barnes. I gotta remember that. Other than that, man, we're gonna keep pushing out a lot more information. And if I come across anything that's mind blowing, definitely. I'm the type of guy I do those spur of the moment type of, quick in and out hangouts. So if you guys see me pop up online, if you're subscribed or you're following, I might pop up, maybe tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday or something like that and do a quick hangout, just like Robert and I did the other day when we found that information on NASA's software program, NASA Eyes, and then we just decided, hey, let's just do this hangout right now. So we're literally putting the information out as we come across it. We don't need a whole week to put together a presentation. We're literally going through it for the first time, and you guys are experiencing it the same way we're experiencing it. It's just that, I wanted to put together a great panel of guys who can think on the fly and think on their feet, and they're fantastic critical cognitive thinkers who've got a vast amount of understanding, comprehension, and knowledge and experience. You guys all got the same amount of comprehension, knowledge, experience, and intelligence. And as you can see, we are nearly troll-free. We are 98% troll-free. These trolls don't want to come in here to even try to screw with us to talk about any of this stuff. They like being in those other channels, dealing with the drama. We leave the drama for your mama. So we really enjoyed it, this journey with you guys. And again, we're open to listening to anybody and everybody who's got information to share. If you ever want to come into the hangout one time, feel free, send me an email. But I'm going to tell you here right now, if that hangout link ends up in a hand of a troll and somebody pops in and tries to disrupt the channel, I'm going to send a hot box of dog shit through my fiber optic line to blow up the screen on your computer. Please do not do that to me. I had someone do that to me before. We sent them a hangout link, and a whole bunch of trolls came in and out playing music and shit like that. That was not cool at all. That was not cool at all. So if you're going to come in and share information, we're all part of the same family, man. You're going to be treated like family. We're going to have some fun. It's going to be respectful. We're going to get confrontational every now and then, but as you can see, we fight with each other, but we fight with each other in a collegiate way where it's a healthy discourse where we not only work to prove one position or the other, but we work to you know, not come to a collective agreement, but share our difference of opinion, and then you guys, you decide for yourselves what you want to accept, what you want to look into, what you don't want to accept, what you understand and what you don't understand, and then we just let it go from there. I'm not on any agenda at all, at all. I'm having fun doing this. I'm learning in the process, going through graduate school, and I'm sharing that information with you guys because I have access to I've got access to the Worldwide University Library. I don't have to pay $16, $100, $200 for some fucking research document that basically tells us all what we already fucking know. But to share the information with you guys and put it out there so that you can start doing some research on your own and developing an understanding is where we're going with this. Now, you guys know that all my videos, I actually change the titles. I don't actually include the term flat earth anymore. That's not because I don't believe the earth is flat. It's because I actually know how to fucking define what I mean when I say the earth is flat. I'm talking about the middle, relatively flat plane surface where all the land masses and the water becomes level. The whole entire fucking earth is not flat. I want to make that clear. I'm going to make that clear every fucking video. The entire earth fucking system, and that includes all of our atmospheres, is not fucking flat. The center landmass is. Robert and I proved that in a video showing the NASA EYES website.
Yeah.
When you go down to telescope view on the ground is flat, relatively flat, with some hills and bumps and declinations and mountains and shit like that.
Yeah.
But whatever the other channels are saying with regard to the flat earth, for some reason these people don't want to tell their audiences and their listeners what they mean when they say the earth is flat. And that is why this shit is not being taken seriously. Because the 7+ billion people out there who are listening to this shit, and they hear other people say, you a flat earther? No. Yeah. So you believe the earth is flat? Yeah. But they're not telling them which part of the fucking earth is flat. Period. That's just what it comes down to. Ain't nobody fucking rotating at 1,000 miles, 1,100 miles an hour, fucking upside down with fucking trillions of tons of fucking water staying in the fucking same place. And you ain't drowned yet. That just ain't possible. So when people ask me, are you a flat earther, Robert? I'm going to say, fuck no. But wait a minute. If you're talking about the ground I live on, yeah, I live on a flat earth. The ground, the dirt, the sand, the rocks, the dog shit, all that, that's flat, relatively. And it's undergoing flattening. I put out the documentation to show you that and to prove that to you. That every aeronautics and astronautics agency and drone manufacturer, they're all using flat earth model equations because they need a fixed frame of reference. Fixed frame of reference means this, people. It's fucking stationary in one fucking place. It doesn't move. So that's what you need to tell people who think that they live on a spinning ball. Hey, I know a guy who put out a video where he spoke to a NASA employee who admitted they use the flat earth model equations because they need a fixed frame of reference to go off of. You got to speak in these terms, because if you don't, you're not going to be taken seriously. Period. And the only way this can be taken seriously is to look at people who are taking it seriously. When you start seeing people doing these personal videos talking about people behind their back and calling them all kinds of shills and trolls and all this other bullshit, that's a bunch of childish fucking middle school bullshit. These people are not focused on really giving you any kind of real information or so-called truth, as they call it. This is not about truth. This is about answering questions to problems that you may have with where you are, why you're there, and what you should be doing. We don't live where they say that we've been living for however old you are. Okay? And Mike Pyle, yeah, another Judas. God created earth as his handiwork. There's another one who believes in God. Listen, when I build a supercomputer to prove to all you guys what it means to be a human, then we can come up, we can address this conversation again.
We're gonna hack
But,
NASA.
yeah. but the title of this hangout was "Is God Dead? Thoughts Become Things, but Who's Listening?" I think we covered pretty much a lot of groundwork. And again, it's up for you guys to decide. But I always look forward to sharing with you guys. We answer a lot of things and pretty much all the videos that I put out, you know, and I'm hopefully going to get better with this. And other than that, you know, we look forward to sharing with you guys again next week or at the spur of the moment. I don't know what it is we're going to talk about. But other than that,
let's talk about information.
Oh my God! Did you come back, dude? Oh, the devil is back.
Forward the flashback,
We're getting ready to end the show right now, man. Oh shit!
Does Robert still think? Does Robert still think that ink, paper, and glue molecules can author technical instruction manuals?
Oh, dude,
he still thinks.
I actually thought you stepped through the portal in that closet you're talking about, man.
He still thinks
hey,
paper
hey, for everybody out there that's listening, we got a little inside joke for John, okay? My nemesis. When we say that John's in the closet, we don't mean that he's gay, okay? He literally does do these hangouts from inside his fucking closet. I am not bullshitting. We are not bullshitting on that. We shit you not. The guy's got an incredible fucking kind of 007 fucking Mr. Bean technical hangout in his fucking closet, bro. I swear to God he does. If he ever turns on this video one day, you will see what I'm talking about, man.
You're not lying.
You're not lying.
This
You
what
close
who?
the door. It's like the huh?
Doctor, yeah.
You swear to who?
You swear to who? That's a good one.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Whatever. John's like the Chronicles of Narnia. You know, you go inside the clouds, you close the door, you're in another world, bro.
The kid's laughing.
Nick's laughing.
Yeah, that was Noah.
Yeah. He's right next to me.
Brilliant.
But it's been fun, guys. We want you guys to take care. Much love for you. You know my motto. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Peace out. Have a good weekend. For those in the U.S., happy Labor Day to you. And for those in UK, except for Robert Shortman, get your asses out of the EU faster than... You ain't getting out of the EU fast enough. You're disrupting the fucking economy. Get the hell out. Take care, people. Peace out. Take care.